So yeah.
I want to have a bit paper in front of me too.
Oh, yeah.
No, what do you mean pretend? I am pretending.
My life is full of pretending.
For the fixtures. What happened this week? I've no idea.
Imposter syndrome, it's called.
How did we do on the tips last week?
I don't know.
I got Toronto wrong, didn't I? I think I got
well, I've on YouTube.
I got.
You're on YouTube?
Yeah.
Don't we have any bonus content for the podcast?
Yeah, that was what we were
was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
That joke about Conrad Hurrell.
Very good.
That didn't make it to the podcast.
Eh? What? Oh, what did you say? I don't say anything.
You're supposed to say if you've got product placement on the desk. I'm not saying I've written anything in the current issue of the Mike Tree.
Hold on here. What's going on? Are we live now? On the?
Yeah.
Are we live? Right. Okay. An update on Scully is still injured, by the way.
How about all the Leeds players are in the position they were yesterday?
Yeah, I mean steamrolled by Hull.
So what I thought was a great idea was, because Scotty's not getting his arch rival in the studio instead.
That's right.
Can we drop this? I'm not.
Friend of the show, Danika's with us. You alright, Danika?
I'm good, are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
Leeds men in crisis, are we allowed to talk about that? Or
Listen, it's taken you all of... I haven't got a watch on, but I'll give you 37 seconds. So let
Can we have a vote? What do we make of Richard's jumper?
I think it's a remake of Starsky and Hutch.
It's the future.
No, it's the past. It's definitely
right,
the
you're
past.
talking about his t-shirt?
No, what about this?
Oh, the orange one.
This, yeah.
He's hiding.
What do you mean? Oh, the orange one, like you hadn't noticed he got it on.
Because I'm a bit offended by the t-shirt too.
What's up with the t-shirt?
I don't know what it is.
It's American football.
Celebrating
the Super Bowl. Celebrating New York, because they're going to have a rugby league team, as we know.
all I saw was Shakira and J-Lo.
Well, that's what pretty much everyone else saw as well.
No, I didn't watch the half-time show.
Combined
I watched the whole game, but I didn't watch the half-time.
Combined age of 93.
I don't know, really. I don't know.
The game was actually quite good.
It was good.
Yeah.
I like the video bringing the ball in. Thought that was excellent. If you're going to pick stuff from other sports that we should do, that was great. The little kid who was running through the streets and all the famous players were helping him get into the stadium. And
What about The Rock? Are we going to get The Rock at the grand final?
Well, why not?
Is he going to call them on?
Isn't he related to
everyone?
Junior Vai?
Yeah.
Everyone
he is, isn't he? Is that right? He's on the right cousin.
We're going to get Ridge Holland, formerly Luke Menzies. He could do ours instead of. Or El Crabtree.
Okay. Right, we've finally got some rugby to talk about. We'll be talking about that shortly.
Some news as well.
Yeah, maybe some news to talk about. If you want to get in touch on Twitter at Forty20 Live, you can get in touch. YouTube comments, and are we still on Facebook? I don't have Facebook anymore. So I don't know.
Why?
It's a cesspit.
I don't like it. I never use it. The only thing I use it for is a show.
That's
so
right.
I thought, why do I need it?
I know some people have been taken off Facebook for their
you're insinuating I've done something
rabid opinions. No, I'm hoping that you haven't.
All right,
I
thanks,
kind of
Phil.
hoping that you have.
Thanks, Phil.
I think a
vote of confidence there. Yeah, me and my mate. Oh, let's move on. We will be reflecting on what's happened today. Sean Wane, the New England coach. I like that idea. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the performances on the field. Huddersfield, huge win for them over the Dragons. Was that the performance of the weekend, or was it Hull who battered? Didn't they batter them? They battered them,
awesome,
didn't
wasn't it?
They battered them.
Like Skittles everywhere.
They did. They battered Leeds.
That white kid at half time.
Toronto, they weren't very good. Castleford beat them. Hull KR, good win for them. Rovers beating Wakey, who apparently were awful on Friday. Saints were brilliant. And I thought Wigan and Warrington both did okay on Thursday.
3 games for Chris Hill.
3-game ban, yeah. Well, we'll start there then. Go on, we'll start there. What do you make of it? Danika, you're a front row. He copped him in the chops.
Yeah, right. The thing is, there's an all or nothing thing, isn't there? It's a try line. He saved a try.
Yeah.
And at that moment, there's an all or nothing kind of sense of buy-in, isn't it? Where you've just got to stop the try. And he did. I don't think it was intentional at all. It was high and it deserved being penalised for, but it did stop the try.
Yeah, Paul Cook said the same. Commentary with us. His job there is to stop him scoring. He stopped him scoring.
That's it. Yeah, we've made penalties on the try line, but you stopped the try, so do you risk the penalty for the try?
But you can't attack the head anymore.
No, I know, but it wasn't intentional. And he's a big lad, is Chris, anyway. He'd hit you over the head every time.
But does intention come into it? It's contact with the head.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Well, I don't think it was intent. I'm not.
No, I don't think any player goes out to intentionally.
Maybe not anymore.
But
no, I think
he did strike the head with such ferocity that the bloke he hit got carried off on contact.
Yeah,
well,
that was the thing.
Yeah.
He's a big lad, is Chris, isn't he? So, but yeah, he's got the 3 matches. I think is right and is quite fair, and if nothing else, quite lenient for him as well. In that respect, if it's a bigger hit that you get carried off as well, depends how you want to go with it, because there's other things where there's an intentional tip tackle that's just got a caution. So
yeah,
you know, there's a very grey area there, isn't there?
Yeah, our mate Rod's going to be sitting in, isn't he, with the panel? That'll be interesting.
It's another new podcast programme.
He'll be sitting in, so he'll tell us how it's all worked out.
Peter
3 games.
2 games was the other ban, I think.
Oh, was it? What's he got 2 games for?
The late hit on John Wilkie.
Ah, yeah.
Which the touchers didn't quite see.
Ah, okay, I remember it now. What did we... we'll come back to today. The big news, a story brought by Gary Carter. Fair play, he's had a scoop here, hasn't he?
It's an exclusive.
Sean Wane will be the new England coach. He is the new England coach.
With glasses.
Yeah.
And a quite severe haircut.
I think his haircut's better now. I think he's going more...
it's gone to Rugby Union.
He had it all
and
shaved
come
off
back
before.
looking intelligent.
Has he lost his
What are you saying,
accent as
he
well?
didn't look intelligent before?
He's come
He looked
back
very
looking.
suave, didn't he? He looked very
Hold
suave.
on.
Older.
You've had a pop
Older.
at me, now you're having a pop at Sean Wane.
Well, that's before the Leeds in crisis starts. Get your retaliation in first.
Yeah,
They've
I
already,
like it.
They've already started on Facebook, by the way. It's all there. Hashtag Leeds in crisis. Leeds in crisis. As we always point out, this
I was getting
Yeah,
tweets
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
I'm on National Radio, I'm getting tweets. Is Leeds in crisis on tomorrow?
Do you think he needs any more fuel for the fire? Give it a break.
Leeds
Who?
men in
You?
crisis.
No, come on, I like Leeds. I like Leeds. I
You
do.
like the commentary position
I
yesterday.
like watching the women play. I'm a proud member. Hey, I spoke to my teammates yesterday. I might be making a comeback
Excellent.
in the
If
PDRL.
only we knew when the fixtures were.
Well, that's what I said when we were playing. They went, we don't know. So that's a bit of a blow. But I have put my name down.
Good.
No, I think I got blackballed last season. I think I've been blackballed
Because
again.
you were selling t-shirts saying Leeds in crisis.
No, you were selling them. Don't blame me. Anyway, Sean Wane is the new England coach. What do you make of it?
I'm excited by that. I'm very excited. I think it's the... I don't know if it's a traditional thing that is homegrown, isn't it? It's an England kind of from the core now. He knows the structure, he knows the DNA, he's done well, he's got a good record. And I think he's going to, as long as he doesn't make any silly, crazy decisions with his selection.
Well, you're a player. Oh, you're a player, Super League player. What did you make of the GB tour?
It wasn't the greatest, was it? It was the selection, and I said this before with the women's as well. It's about selection, and you don't know what coaches are thinking, do you? Because you just think you see players, and you think, why are you not playing the best person for that position in that position? Why are you moving it around? Why are you switching it up? Why are you putting pressure on a player to play out of position? Because I don't think that's fair either. And that's where I think it fundamentally went wrong. But again, I'm not a coach. That's just my opinion. And putting...
Yeah, but you're a player, and the players will be like that, won't they? And, you know, like you say, you can't criticise Blake Austin for playing on the wing. He's going to play wherever he's asked to play.
So it's like the women. So in the second match against Papua New Guinea when they lost, the fullback got put to half. The best half in the league was on the bench, or wasn't even on the bench. The replacement fullback went into centre. Caitlin, who's a winger internationally, went into fullback. Then you had second rows at prop. It was just ridiculous. And the girls have never played in that position, so therefore it showed.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault. You're not going to turn a shirt down by saying, well, that's not my shirt position, sorry. You just take it, you play, because you get the chance to wear that shirt. And you trust the coach, which didn't make the right choice. The
feeling is, Phil, for me, that half an hour before England take on Australia, where is the first test? Is it at Bolton?
Bolton.
The paint will be coming off the dressing room wall. They'll be ready to rip in, and they will get ripped in under Sean Wane. He's the right choice, isn't he?
I think Wayne Bennett's position became increasingly untenable because of not just the poor displays of Great Britain overall, the fact that clearly the RFL need to sell tickets to this series against Australia. Forget the World Cup at the moment, that's going to be massive anyway, and people would have supported that, but I think in the interim they need to get bodies to test matches against Australia. It's the big income generator. And I think there was a feeling that the public had turned against Wayne Bennett. That even if it isn't for rugby-related issues, for all the things that you've said, they're not buying tickets because they didn't want Wayne Bennett to be coach of the team that they were supporting. Now, I think it's a commercial decision as much as it's a rugby decision. I think somebody at the RFL has said, we need to...
Well, hold on. Is it a rugby decision? Because Kevin Sinfield's gone today, and reading between the lines, he's quit because his recommendation hasn't been followed.
I think you can look at it one of two ways. You can either say now is the time if you're going to have a fresh start to make a fresh start because you're 2 years out from a World Cup, or you say we spent the last 4 or 5 years building something with a squad of players. Admittedly, some of them played out of position, but they know the style that they're going to play. They know what's expected of them, and now you're sort of starting that again. That could be dangerous if you seriously do want to win the World Cup. I'm not going to disagree with you about players playing out of position, but I think we make too much of that. I think the issue is if there's too many of them playing out of position, but every international team that has been successful has had somebody who's playing out of position.
Yeah, one, maybe two.
Yeah, but
and generally due to injury or,
Yeah, that's it. 1 or 2 playing out of position, but you can count 4 or 5, couldn't you?
When, when you see the way Johnny Lomax played this week, you wonder why his position has changed at international level, because he clearly has reached... a standard.
Did he put himself on the back foot? Because I'll go back to this. When he said there's no good back rowers in England. Well, some of them play in the NRL now, and they're the likes of Bateman.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that you know what you're going to get with Wayne Bennett. And if you decide 2 or 3 years down the line that you don't like what you've got, that's partly your fault for appointing him in the first place. You know he's not going to be media friendly. Nothing you say is going to make him media friendly. He's not going to be a warming individual to outsiders. He has this philosophy of how he's going to play, and he's not going to be told that English players are any better than...
Yeah, but did he disrespect Super League? He doesn't know Super League. Whatever you dress it up, he doesn't know the competition. I just think, again, and he doesn't care. Where's Tommy Makinson come from? Well, he's been here for about 8 years, mate, scoring tries every week.
The question that we don't know, because we weren't part of the camp, was did he listen to the advice he was given by people who do follow Super League? Or did he ignore it because that's the kind of character he is?
We got told, right, when they had selection, that all these people around him write down what you think the thing is. And my understanding is he looked at it, threw it in the bin, and went, right, this is all fixed.
And if he did, then that's why he isn't the coach anymore. Having said that, his coaching record at the moment is he took Souths to within 80 minutes of a grand final with a team that was in transition, so he can still do a job. I think the other thing about him as well is that, and I know they wouldn't they, will be the answer to this, but every player you speak to, even off the record, about what influence did Wayne Bennett have on you, most of them speak
I disagree with this.
Oh, I think they do. I
disagree with that.
Well,
after that first series, I can tell you half a dozen of them didn't want what to do with him.
Well, we won't know because we weren't there, but I think the majority...
He clearly is a great coach. I'm being the other way. He's clearly a great coach. He has been a great coach.
He inspires...
He got found out of the nines by picking people that should have been nowhere near that squad.
Well, the fact is...
And even the players themselves... Ryan Orson, what am I doing in this squad?
Was the mistake that he shouldn't have been... The England coach should not have been the Great Britain coach?
Yeah, well, then is that a penny pinching thing? And has he been chucked under a bus? But...
And I think going back to Kevin Sinfield, his recommendation was that Wayne Bennett stayed on, and then as soon as it became apparent that he wasn't going to be staying on, that's why he resigned his position. The issue that, and I think Rich might confirm this, Rich and I were very privileged and fortunate to be at the Wheelchair Awards on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about the England pathway and the work that has been done, particularly by Kevin Sinfield in the position he's resigned from, has elevated the women's game and the wheelchair game.
Yeah.
And the men's game now has structures underneath the full England team where there are more games being played by under-16s, academy. The pathway is clearer. And I think that kind of work that has been lost by Kevin Sinfield resigning...
Well, there's a problem then that Kevin shouldn't have done the review of the tour, because he is,
100%.
However you dress it up, 100%. He is guilty by association,
absolutely.
Isn't he? He's part of the tour. Yeah. The Hanley decision, take it. Why not? 100%. Surely as Leeds director of rugby, whatever it is, he goes, hang on. Now, he's been to Papua New Guinea before. You don't need to come. He knows what it's all about. Don't bother. If he's not playing, he's not coming.
And if you're going to ask him to do the review in his role as director of rugby, you have to take on board the recommendations. But you don't ask him to do it because he's part of the process. But I'm just hoping that his resignation doesn't have a fallout outside of
I completely agree with that. I really do agree with that.
Who they play, and because I think you'll know better than I will. There was a lot of progress being made at various levels under that overall banner of England performance.
I think that would be my biggest fear with Kev stepping down, because he's great with all aspects of the game, and he genuinely from what I've interacted with him, genuinely believes in every single, the academy structure, the wheelchair, the PDRL, the LDRL, the women's massively, and he was, he played a real big part in the growth of the women's game internationally for the, and having the England performance squad and then the Knights performance squad that have started up now. He's got that started.
Going to PNG, he was really keen on the women having a cultural experience as much as a playing experience.
Yeah, and then being a whole part of that growth, and that's the worrying thing. Don't get me wrong, rugby's going in a great speed for women, but are you going to get somebody in that position that cares as much about the other alternatives apart from? Because let's be fair, the focus for rugby is always the men's, and I totally get that with the the financial backing and the investment in it. But that aside, we need somebody that still sees the bigger picture.
But is there therefore have two jobs gone into one by accident?
Because Sean Wayne
if
is
he's
full
doing
time,
that,
isn't he?
well, no, but if Kevin is doing that job and he's building up and he's clearly done a great job, why is he then hands-on involved in the team? It's almost like, well, hang on, it's like his role at Leeds.
Yeah.
Under, is he the coach or is he not the coach?
Well, it's why he shouldn't have done the report. Your exact reason why he shouldn't have done the report is because he,
it's an unclear rule. It's an unclear.
Who writes the report?
Well,
someone independence.
I mean,
yeah, but don't you need to be in the? So you've been in camp because the things that go on in camp and the decisions made, the discussions, the team talks, things that nobody else sees apart from inside.
But what is all right then? Let's be fair. When we saw the team, we all went, "Well, he picked two wingers. We've got about 8 halfbacks. This is not going to end well." We all said that when he picked the team.
And I
so
think
is that not?
The problem was that was a trial for England. That's let me see some players who I might need if we have.
But that's
which
disrespecting the Great Britain.
But I don't blame the coach for that. I blame.
Why?
Because I think that if it's sold to him as you can be involved in Great Britain as well because it will give you the chance to see other players for England, that is automatically disrespecting the role because again, we went to the...
Here's one for you. If Regan Grace had been English, do you think he'd have gone on that tour?
I think he probably had more chance of going on that tour, yeah. But also, even in the room on Friday night, which was I have to say, the wheelchair was one of the most uplifting things I've been to, and that is purely because the atmosphere in the room was genuinely one of, we're all in this together. There was still a feeling that it was great that Scotland and Wales were part of that evening, and they all gave their own awards. But it was mainly an England evening, and there's no funding that goes to Scotland and Wales. It's all self-generated, as it is with the men's team and the women's team. And I think that's the danger. The RFL has as big a responsibility internationally as it does for Wales and Scotland. That's how it's structured. But everything is focused on England, and we got to get away from that.
It was lovely on Friday night to see back together, as if people who've been through family breakups will know this feeling when a father who's gone away comes back, reunited with his son, Kevin and Brian on the stage there handing out the awards. It was lovely. You love to see it, as they say on social media.
I heard Brian had a pop at Hetherington.
It was brilliant.
Can't
quote it. Can't quote it. Can't say it. Can't say it.
Well, have we got a bleep?
No, we haven't got a bleep. No. But he said he was at Headingley the week before because we saw him there for the Super League launch.
We did.
I think one quote.
Asked him about Leeds. He got a bit spiky, didn't he? To be fair.
He said, and I saw Gary Hetherington there. We all know who Gary Hetherington is, and he thought in his mind, "There's the blank that sacked me."
Yeah.
But he said it much funnier and with a swear word in there. You can pick which one you want.
He also said when I chose to resign from Leeds before, which was
very,
for those that knew, it was funny.
Fair enough.
But it was really great. I mean, Andy Gregory was there supporting. He wants to be an ambassador for the wheelchair game. It was a really good night, and we crowned the first wheelchair golden boot, which was Jack Brown of Halifax.
Yeah, very good. Did you get a chat with him, Rich?
Yes, it's on the on Facebook,
YouTube page,
it's on Twitter, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Congratulations to him then.
Now, I don't know whether Sean Wayne, as part of his role as a full-time England coach, is going to take on board some of this wheelchair and...
But why should he?
Yeah.
His role is
Because
head
I
coach.
don't want to lose.
But then that's your performance director.
Yeah, this is where the two jobs.
No, this is the thing with the
Don't tell me Wayne Bennett knew the England
No, but Wayne Bennett wasn't full time.
Yeah.
No, but when you say about Wayne Bennett not being a social media, not being a people person, that's not his job. I love the fact that Wayne Bennett didn't like the media side of things. Brilliant. It's not his job.
But you've got to have somebody who promotes the national team.
So, like, take Jimmy Lowes, for instance. He's coached for years. He coaches union now. Doesn't like the thing. So the director of rugby or the assistant coach does the interviews because he just says no. Because his job is to do the coaching. And that's all he's there for. He doesn't care about... He'll review the game if he has to with his team and they will then pass that on. But your job is to coach the team and get the ultimate goal.
Is the problem, and this is why maybe Sean Wayne's full-time, is that actually Sean Wayne in his spare time might go watch some players in Super League.
Well, you would hope.
So therefore, it's actually Sean. We need you to work Thursday, Friday because we need you to go to a game and watch some of these players.
I'm hoping that he may still have a more overarching involvement, like you just said, because I don't know if the RFL will replace Kevin Sinfield.
Well, I think that's a separate argument, and I wonder if Kevin the player has made the decision to step down today, because Kevin the player will see Wayne Bennett as a brilliant coach and think, I'd love to play for this guy. I can see why all the players are learning off him. I can see what's happening here. But Kevin is an administrator now, not a player. No. And he's got to make that decision and say, well, actually, Wayne, we're not taking our family halfway around the world not to play. That is a crap. We're not doing it. And has he got, let's say, the guts to stand up to him? I still look at Kevin as a player. He looks like he could play. I reckon he could play if you give him a shirt. Yeah, exactly. But and it comes down to, in any other walk of life, does Kevin Sinfield get that job he's got at Leeds? I don't think he does.
I think it'd be interesting as well on a sort of side issue now. Does Danny Ward and Ian Watson, do they stay involved? Do you think? Because again, Sean Wayne said today he hasn't made any decisions on his backroom stuff.
Well, weren't they Great Britain coaches?
But I would hope they still remain involved. I hope we haven't just thrown all of the baby out with the bathwater. I can understand why Sean Wayne is a good appointment on a number of levels. I don't really buy into this. It's because he's English. I think that Wayne Bennett was part of the 2008 New Zealand team that won the World Cup. They didn't say, I'm sorry, you can't come in the dressing room because you're not a Kiwi. I think if you're the best person for the job, I'm not bothered what nationality you are.
Yeah. But when he's coaching New Zealand, mate, he's watching the players every week, all of them.
Wayne Bennett had a passion for England to be successful. And I think if you focus solely on it's great because Sean Wayne happens to be an Englishman, I think you're missing the point. I think we've got highly tuned athletes playing at the very top level, and a coach at that level, whether he's Australian...
As Scully said, I'm going to jump in here, as Scully said, if you'd have offered Wayne Bennett the Australian job, he'd have walked out on England like that.
I don't know, he's an internationalist.
He would have done.
He wants England to be successful. He's passionate.
Does he, or does he want Wayne Bennett to be successful?
Well, there'll be an element of that as well, but I think if you speak to him about how he got involved in rugby league in the first place, it was listening to test matches on the radio on his farm, and he wants there to be as many nations at that top table providing top class.
So why is he not speaking to the media and telling us how great international rugby league is?
He doesn't do speaking to the media, does he? Which Ellery Hanley didn't when he was in charge. And again, I think
but he's not killing him to be a great internationalist.
I think that is a fault of the administration when you pick people who are not media friendly if you want to sell tickets.
Well, should he not have been told? We're going back into... I'm not bothered. I'm glad he's gone. For the record, I'm glad he's gone. Great coach. I think he's slightly past his best, if I'm brutally honest. The Nine showed that, and the Great Britain was a disgrace, and he should have been sacked for that. Not let his contract run out.
Yeah, but we need to remember that he was, first and foremost, an England coach, not a GB coach.
Yeah, but he was a GB coach, so wasn't he?
But I think the mistake is making him the GB.
So if GB forms again, or, is Sean... Wayne going to be the GB coach as well?
Well, I guarantee if he is, he'll show more respect to it.
You've got to kind of look at it at two different angles, haven't you? Because as an England coach,
he did a decent job. Yeah, he did a decent job.
As a GB coach, he didn't, and you got to separate the two before because you can't. We're just umbrella-ing it at the minute, and I'm glad Sean Wayne's got it that great, but as an England coach, he wasn't as bad as he was as a GB coach. So the question I would say is to the RFL, what's going to happen when GB form again?
Well, fortunately, we don't know if there is a GB.
Exactly.
Great Britain was only there to sell shirts.
Yeah, and also,
so we've got
he still had the same group of players that just didn't perform for him.
Did he though? If you look at the New Zealand Test series, beforehand. There's a few
I
extra.
also-
And then he played them in position, and therefore they were successful. God forbid that would actually happen. You know, and it's the GB thing. We have to take away that it was a shambles. It didn't go to plan. Poor decisions were made. It failed. But as an England coach, he was all right. There you go, mind the story.
Fair. No, it's good. It's good. No problem. Absolutely no problem at all.
Someone's just tweeted. Well, Sid's retweeted a tweet. Sean Wayne looks like Mark Francois, the idiot MP. So that's
Sid, I'm going to tell him you said that.
Yeah.
In fact, he'll know you've said that.
And give him your address.
He'll know you've said that.
Yeah,
Like he knew when I called his team bullies and he pulled me up on it the week
I
after.
hope he's got Scott's number back so he can get him involved with the England setup.
Yeah.
That's what he wants.
Going back to this whole RFL supporting all of the nations, wasn't he advising the Scotland team? Sean Wayne.
Rugby union.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, rugby union. We don't talk about it on this show.
But the what?
Yeah.
Me and Phil
What's your mouth
accidentally increased the crowd on Friday at Yorkshire Carnegie.
Did you?
Yeah, Ian McGeechan will be blaming us from losing, I think. But yeah, we were there.
I don't think it's your fault, Rich.
We blamed the Rhinos.
Did he? What the
He
hell
could
happened
blame
to
the
the pitch? What the hell has happened to that pitch? Eh?
I'm not
That is the worst pitch
I
in
can't
the
grow
Super
a
League.
daisy, but it didn't look good.
It's had a bit of a rough ride. It's had a bad winter, and it's had a lot of Carnegie on
A
it.
lot of rain.
What they need is-
Carnegie can't damage it, sure. They haven't had a line out all year.
You have to walk back behind the poster every time.
Was that a funny joke? That I thought I meant to laugh.
Eh?
Just
Come
do it,
on, now.
I'm a secret fan.
Put it over with what's it? Is that like I'm a secret fan of Leeds Rhinos women and just keep it?
Well, you're not at all. All you ever do is put us down and you won't pick the
God.
other
If
person.
you're going to have an argument, take it outside.
Fine.
Come on.
I don't
Phil's
need to.
not
I've
getting
got
in
the
there.
trophies. It's fine.
Phil's not. Oh, here we
No,
go.
I got
Here
my
we
picture
go.
with Sonny. I
Whoa,
got
whoa,
my
whoa.
picture with Sonny
This
Bill
show
yesterday.
has got 46 Great Britain caps. Don't you ever forget that. It don't mean
Well,
any of
that's
them are here
more
now.
now.
Oh, yes,
That's more.
actually, yeah.
How many have you got?
Not good
England
big
caps?
ones.
England.
It's all count.
England.
Like 7 or 8. I think.
You wouldn't sell Scully one, would you? So we could get a gold one. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on. Right, so we've spoken about Sean. What are the listeners bothered? Are they happy Sean Wayne's the coach, or what's happening?
He's not Wayne Bennett. That's the general consensus.
He's not Wayne Bennett.
He's not Wayne Bennett.
Give him the gig. He's not
Did
Wayne
we actually
Bennett.
come on that much with Bennett in charge of England season?
we
We
got
still
to-
lost to the Aussies right now.
We did get
That's
to
a
a World
final.
Cup final, which we
He's
haven't
better
done.
than
Come on.
We
We
did
got
get
robbed,
to a World
got
Cup
robbed
final.
by an ankle tap. Let's be fair.
No, we got robbed because we didn't score any points, Danika, because they played crap rugby. That's why they didn't win.
How many World Cup finals have you been in?
Oh, well,
many
now
have
you
you?
mention it.
But talking of playing crap rugby, I mean, there are two things. Sean Wayne has got to find some more players. Now, he may well do because
Why?
he's going
He's got enough.
No, I don't think we have. I don't think we've got enough
Why?
because I think that was exposed with the fact that when we played our last Great Britain series, we all named about 20 players and we were struggling to get beyond that. I think we need more players. Now, hopefully, he'll spend a lot of his time going around and talking to the young players that are coming through and preparing them for International Rugby League. That'll be part of his job. Hopefully. I think the other thing just to bear in mind before everybody says, you know, Wayne Bennett's tactics were rubbish is why did Sean Wayne leave Wigan? It wasn't that he wasn't successful, it's that there was a perception, part of the reason, not the sole reason. The perception was his teams didn't play entertaining enough rugby. They strangled the opposition to death. Now, that may be success. You know, that may get England the World Cup, but style of rugby is in the eye of the beholder. It's successful rugby or it isn't successful rugby. Wayne Bennett got us to a World Cup final. That is a success.
We know that. Come on, you're being naughty here because we know from speaking to people, right? We know from speaking to people they weren't allowed to play. They're playing Super League because Wayne Bennett wouldn't let them play like that.
On the basis,
and yet they were won Man of Steel awards. They were the best players. They scored loads of tries, but they're not allowed to do that when they play for England.
His reasoning for that, and he doesn't need me to tell anybody what his reasoning is, was because he knew that the intensity at an international level and the way you had to break down tighter defences that he were more attuned to in the NRL was to play a different style of rugby. That if we'd have played Super League style from minute one, we wouldn't have got to a World Cup final.
How do we know that?
I don't know. Well,
how do we know that?
Speak to professional
How do we know
rugby.
that? This is a guy that said, I'm not too worried that the other team scored 14 points. Well, I am, because we didn't get any.
I suspect we don't know because we're not qualified coaches.
No, he's gone now. We're not talking about him again.
We obviously need, though, and this is the concern I've got, is because I think I joked about it, was half awake this morning after the Super Bowl.
We have to wait when you put that card on.
Has Sir Kev, because he is a knight of the realm, as we know, has Sir Kev left and now the RFL think, well, we don't have to replace him because we've got Sean Wane full time because Wayne Bennett just came over and did a couple of test matches. He's all that work Kevin Sinfield's done.
That is the worry. That is the worry.
Dave Elliott is his performance as well, and Dave Elliott was the head of performance before Kev got the head of performance title. So they essentially made a job for Kev that was already.
Don't say jobs for the boys though. Don't say because I don't want you getting in trouble.
So you can say it, Mark. There's already.
Well, we've mentioned that before, haven't we? We have questioned how some people got the gigs. But I have to say, in defence of Kevin, and I have been critical of him in certain parts, the perception is on, like you've said, on the other side of the game, he's done a great job.
Yeah.
So I will lose it, but then like I said, is that the player going? Yeah, I'm off.
I don't
Rather
know.
than Kevin, someone saying, right, I'm going to have to suck it in here, and I ain't got my own way. This is what I recommend. I don't know.
Well, and we don't know whether Sean Wane and Kevin Sinfield can't work together. We don't know, do we? It might well be that it's slightly more.
What happens is Sean Wane, who famously on record says he hates St Helens, don't pick any St Helens players. What if he comes in and says, I'm not picking them. I'm not.
John Bateman captain, do you reckon? Or will he stick with Sean O'Loughlin for a... See, the thing is, if Sean O'Loughlin this is his final year, and we're actually building to the World Cup the year after that, does he now have to...
So technically Locker shouldn't be playing in the test series then, should he? Because he's not a potential for the World Cup.
But will Sean Wane want him out there because he's
This is a guarantee I'll give you now.
Make him assistant coach.
Whether they're playing Australia, Papua New Guinea, France B, Sean Wane will pick his best team available.
Great.
There'll be no caps for you because it'll be his best 17 every time. I reckon that's how it should be.
So because I'm a bit bitter about the England thing, because I'm too old now. You see,
you're not.
Well, bitter.
Well, no. But I would say, for answering my own question, is keep Lockers in because experience as well, though, isn't there? Is there anybody that plays better than him at the minute?
Well, that might
consistently.
Be why. That might be why he says he hasn't decided on his staff yet, because he could bring him in as one of his assistants.
I will be
take him out
involved
of the
as a
playing
player, or
have him as his link between. Will Jamie Peacock be kept on as team manager? Likelihood is it might go to Sean O'Loughlin.
I don't know. I think Sean Wane would respect Jamie Peacock, the player, and think that would be a good person for me to have around.
Well, is he going to have Paul Wellens as part of his staff because he's St Helens?
Well, I mean, I was being... But my point being is, all these players, we question Jamie Peacock, what's he doing there? Because we don't think he's got any input. No. If Jamie has an input, then he's going to be a far more advantage to the people he's working.
Isn't the team manager's role to do the admin, the pre-post match?
Why is Jamie Peacock to do that then?
No, that's the thing though. What do you want from a team manager? Do you want the fact that Jamie Peacock's involved and they're just giving him a job, you've done a real good service to Rugby League, come in, keep involved, but just do the team manager's job, which is low-key, less pressure, but you're still involved around the lads? Because what people don't realise sometimes about international, it's the behind the scenes when he might be the team manager, but also a young prop coming through might be struggling, and he can take him to side, let's go for coffee during the tour, sit and have a chat, and that experience is, he's not coaching, but he's still counselling or mentoring the young lads through his experience.
I think he's asked Goey to go for coffee before. Something like that, anyway.
I think
I thought he referred to the Nescafe advert, didn't he?
And I think he asked Goey to go outside. I don't think it was for coffee.
But just for the people who ask constantly where he is, he's not well.
He's not. He's actually ill.
He's genuinely.
He's had an operation
today. He's not a made-up thing. He's not well, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
Anne says, I know Wayne is successful, but it's not an exciting appointment, is it? I don't know. Who would be exciting?
I don't think you can judge it until we see...
Because Wayne Bennett was the best coach in the world.
What his first squad is. I think the one thing he did say today is that he's not ruling out the use of heritage players either. He just wants a commitment from the people that he's picking.
Well, they have committed, haven't they?
Yeah.
So I just think... Austin and Hastings have committed, haven't they?
I think, yes, that's why Wayne Bennett took them. So I don't think that just because we've got Sean Wane now as the England coach that heritage players have gone off the agenda. I think he will pick whoever he thinks can win him matches, and if that happens to be Blake Austin but played in the right position, he'll still pick him.
Here's Tim, and it's the key point. Might now buy test sticks on the strength of this decision. Had Bennett been reappointed, I just couldn't take any more. Buy some shirts as well, Tim.
Yeah. And that's, I think, part of the logic behind the RFL overturning the report that they were given is the fact that they are viewing it with a commercial head on, which they've every right
to. The RFL are skint.
Yeah, well, they know what the ticket sales are, aren't they? Don't they,
Yeah.
for the test match? And if they're not at a level that they would hope they would have been at, and if the feedback they're getting is, well, Wayne Bennett is in charge, I'm not going to buy a ticket, maybe their hand is forced to make a change.
Very good. Other news today, Luke Thompson is leaving. He's got to the NRL.
Yeah, Charlotte Booth set the trend. Where she goes, Luke follows.
Well, you've got to take the opportunity, haven't you? It's meant to be the
Young
best.
man.
Yeah, it's meant to be the best, the highest competition to play at, other than international. So why do you not go give it a go?
He's playing for a team that'll suit his style of play. I mean, every team has traits and characteristics about it, which we'll talk about with some of the performances this week in the Super League. Canterbury are a forward-dominated team. They love intimidating the opposition as best. They haven't done it particularly well over recent years, but the reputation of the Bulldogs is you come to our place, you get hurt. And I think he'll fit into that perfectly. He's at an age whereby you couldn't... I don't think it's about money. I think it's about ambition. Because he can come back to this competition still at his peak if it doesn't work out.
You don't know
for
until
him.
you try, and I think it's great. Anybody that wants to go over and try it, or vice versa, it's part of you testing yourself, isn't it?
And I think Sean Wayne will be rubbing his hands together because there's another guy who's going to be a cornerstone of his pack come the World Cup who's playing at a higher level and playing less games.
Yeah.
Just like full of Legion crisis. It reminds me because I was trying to think. Somebody else had said this week something along the lines of, "If I hadn't have tried it now, I would regret it later in life." I think it was Blake Austin on the We Play League documentary.
All right.
Coming here.
Okay.
So some people come over for experience of
yeah.
travel. I thought he was going to say to top up their pensions, but he went.
Oh, because he was saying that
with
they just bought a house, haven't they, and finally settled in Canberra.
He wanted to come over and
Yeah.
give the competition a go.
I think it'll be
Did Israel Folau say that?
the best thing he ever... What have you mentioned him for?
Well, because people be expecting.
We'll do
We're
it
not-
in a minute.
we're not
We're
gonna
talking
mention
about
him,
Luke
are we?
Thompson.
No, I think it's a fabulous move for him. I don't think any blame should be attached to St Helens for not being able to retain him.
Oh, I reckon he'll have offered him a lot of money.
Yeah,
and this is
absolutely.
why it's not about money.
No,
this
I don't
is
think
it.
so.
It ain't
I
about
think
money
it's about
because I
ambition.
think if his agent had gone to the UK market and said he's available,
absolutely.
there would have been a lot.
And
of
he'd
sympathy.
have been a marquee signing.
Yeah, he would.
clearly.
I think he would. Yeah,
But I don't think that. He will have got a lot more money by signing for Canterbury because their salary cap allows them to pay a lot of money. But as the current best player in the competition, as signalled by the man of the match in the grand final, he's going to be a target. And, good
and now
luck
he's
to-
left Saints. Of course, Sean Wayne will pick him.
Yep.
No, it's good. I think it's good. It was inevitable.
And it's good-
Enjoy
it's
him while
good-
he's here.
good for
It's
England.
inevitable.
It's good for
He's
England.
going,
He's,
and we wish him all the best as well.
Do you think St Helens should sign James Graham to replace him?
No,
Just thought I'd throw that in.
no.
Speaking of prop forwards, other prop forward related news today from Gabe Hamlin. You remember him?
Oh yeah. Why?
He joins the list of utter sporting morons who come up with reasons to explain away taking cocaine. Well, if you want to have a sniff, have a sniff.
I mean, don't, because it's illegal
Yeah,
in the game.
actually, don't-
and
just
you
say
get
Well, you mean you
banned.
want to do the Rangy chase? If you're going to do it, then
Just-
face the consequences.
First of all, just say no. Second of
Go
all,
on,
if you are
Zara.
going to do it, just don't make up some crap. Oh, I met a girl on Tinder and she had cocaine. So rugby league players don't go on Tinder or Grindr or Bumble or
do you-
What the hell's he on about now? Him?
I have no
I've
idea.
no
I think
idea.
it's-
I think we
I'm
lead a
still
sheltered
getting over
life.
the
Phil.
cardigan.
I spend a
but-
lot of time in the office with young people. They use all these phrases. I don't know what any of them mean, but pick them up.
Whatever.
Swag.
I bet if we do a
right
history,
instead of left.
if we do a history search on his computer, move on.
Incognito window.
There you go. You
What
see.
is he even talking about?
There
now?
you go.
What?
Move along. Israel Folau, absolute disgrace.
Who?
Catalans Dragons. I'm going to say it now. I hope they get relegated,
I want.
even above Leeds.
Can I pay tribute to Tom Johnston and Danny Kermond, who put their heads above the parapet in replying to Keegan Hurst's tweet last week?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the biggest asset we have in our sport are our players, and a lot of players.
Not every player.
Not every.
One
player.
of the persons who's in our sport now is not an asset to it.
I'm trying to work out how to phrase this, but if you're told not to do something, but you think it's still the right thing to do something,
Yeah.
then you should still do it.
You mean
Well, isn't-
morals? If you've got some
Isn't
morals.
that
If
the
you-
line that the game itself
If
should
you
have
think
taken?
you should come out and say, I think this is rubbish, and I don't agree with it, and I want to defend the rights of everyone else, then you should still do that, even if you're told you're not. Now, if you're going to come out and say something stupid like defend him, don't do that.
No.
But if you're going to come out and say something good, I don't think that's a bad thing, and I don't think that's a bad look for the sport.
Irrespective of all the debate that we've had about his beliefs, and I think we are all agreement in this particular forum that there is no place for Israel Folau. Have Catalan grossly miscalculated this? That they've signed a player who's over 30, who hasn't played top-level rugby league for close on 10 years, as a panic buy because they lost Braden Williami late on in the close season. Is the implications of them signing a player who is unproven at this level, in that if he arrives, he ain't go straight. He isn't going to necessarily have the. Well, you saw it with Sonny Bill Williams yesterday. There is going to be a time frame for him to just.
Don't start.
With Sonny Bill Williams, friend to Danika, of course, but
close friend.
Look, he had a nightmare yesterday.
No, but what I'm saying is...
But you could still tell in glimpses where he's going to be great.
But Catalan have signed him for 1 year.
Yeah, so what?
The backlash that they've had, the fact that there's going to be demonstrations wherever they go, the unbelievable quote from Bernard Gouache saying, we never anticipated this would be the reaction. Really? You honestly didn't think this would be? Has it backfired? The fact that O'Neill's, their shirt sponsor, have come out and said... Here's a statement, we absolutely distance ourselves from this signing. Isn't it just short-termism of the worst kind? So the more that Steve McNamara says, I can't wait for him to play, the more I'm thinking, you've actually damaged your club by signing this guy.
Oh, of course I have. I mean, what was your reaction when he signed? Mine was, I was absolutely spewing on it. I was you do me a favour. What do you think?
It's the whole thing, isn't it? Like, for me, obviously I don't condone it, I don't agree on it, It's just frustrating in the highest kind, but it's like you see in 1 minute the rugby league community come together for really awful situations like the Rob and the Mossy, and then the next minute 90%, or what I've seen, 85-90% are firing up about this whole thing. What the RFL have said is that he hasn't necessarily done anything wrong by legal terms. They can't say no, they can't get rid of it. Like, what has Steve Mack done? Has he gone to his players and gone, this is what the crack is? Or has he just gone, screw it, I'm doing it regardless? And I think that's what's more frustrating, because the 1 minute you're seeing the community and you're seeing the players and everybody come together. Have Catalan as a team said, nah, this is fine, we'll agree?
It's my understanding, and we got told on Monday that it was going. In my understanding, it was McNamara's decision to bring him in. That's as I understand it. Yeah, that might be. Nobody
agrees. Nobody wants him to play. Nobody wants him to be around. Nobody wants anything to do with our sport. But what I think is that real disregard of A, your sport, and B, your team,
and your own fans.
Because before that, Steve Mack was always regarded quite highly as a coach for me. Like, he's done a bit in the women's game and he's England, and he's always been a great coach. Seems to be a great person. Like the media side, he's always very willing. He's not had the greatest of success, but also he's had some of the best success in terms of Catalan and the Challenge Cup. But now, respectfully, as to him, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to do, because I don't know the backstory of where this all come from. But surely, mate, like, really?
You must have realised the implication. They've alienated some of their own.
They're not thick. I know we get a bad reputation of being not the most intelligent sport, but you're not really that thick, surely.
No. I'd certainly
I'm trying to remain quite level-headed about it, but it's just so infuriating.
You say we're not thick, but some of the letters in the papers today on various topics are utterly disgraceful, and I'll get to one of them later. But as Brian Bevan, who does a rugby league podcast, there aren't enough of them out there. You can just start one, Danica. Can the owners of a club not ban a player from the ground following his comments, as they no doubt would ban a fan in similar circumstances? We warned on this programme last year, 12 months ago, when Super League decided to take the moral high ground over Ben Barber, that this would happen.
And yet Ben Barber's banned, yet there are people who have committed exactly the same offence in the competition.
And we warned last October when Tonga, and we all love Tonga these days, don't we? We're going to pick Izzy Folau, and they're going to pick him, no doubt, in the future. So make what you want of that. We all warned at that point that it would open a Pandora's box, and now, as we saw last week, and everyone's doing the whataboutery. Well, Izzy Folau said this. Well, what about Zach Hardacre? What about Robert Louis? What about this, that and the other? The sport can decide who plays and who doesn't.
Well, you've got... And we're a sport that is built on a set of all-inclusive principles. We never define what the family means, but it has to be that everyone is able to play. Now we're taking in somebody to the sport who has a view on life that is antithetical to that principle that we stand for, and yet we don't have the regulations to stop that person playing. What does that say about the impetuosity of our governing bodies?
I don't want to go back to this example again, but in the sports, whatever the rules are, operational rules, isn't it? About handing out testimonials. It says in there players have to be of good character and and they handed out a testimony to a player who'd been censored by the governing body for posting something racist on Facebook. So you can't have it both ways, and they want it both ways.
And there is
the
a phrase.
Super League can come out with a statement last Tuesday saying, "Oh, well, we don't agree with this. It's your sport."
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and
if he's made that comment today, he would get sacked as a player.
If I made
he would
that
be
comment,
sacked.
There is a charge
There's
called
legal grounds, I think, to say you're not welcome.
There's two. Firstly, there's a charge called bringing the game into disrepute. By holding certain views, you are bringing the game into disrepute.
Can I ask?
But the other thing is, so what if we'd have made a stand? I mean, there's an issue about Catalan as a club because all the NRL clubs decided they would not sign him. Therefore, the governing body could come out and say he won't be welcome in our sport.
Michael Carter said on the radio to me last week that he thought that Super League had that conversation.
And if they had, that makes Catalan's position even worse. But so what? So they try and register the contracts. The RFL stroke Super League say, I'm sorry, but we've had this discussion. We don't want anything to do with somebody
should they not have asked
him
to apologise?
Well, or got him to publicly sign a code of conduct that has within it things that he has is the opposite to what he's posted on his social media, which he refuses to take down.
It's my understanding, you'll know more about this than me, I forget his name, was it Andre Gray? I don't want to besmirch someone's name. A player in the Premier League, someone went back through his tweets to a tweet 8 years ago.
I can't remember what you might be right.
I'll withdraw the name because I don't know if it was him or not, but there was a player in the Premier League that he played at Burnley at the time, that made a comment very similar to what Falau said. And he got banned from something that happened 8 years ago when he was about 18 years old. So that has so they can retrospectively punish him, but yet we've got to let this guy in.
What's the worst that could have happened? So you refuse to register his contract. He does to the game of rugby league what he did successfully to the game of rugby union in Australia, and he sues. He gets his legal representative to sue. If we'd have made a stand and we were talking about a contract that was 1 year, which let's take an absolute guess was worth maybe £120,000, which probably
I'd say 200 grand.
All right. Yeah. Are we not prepared to stand up for our principles for £200,000?
Well, here's a thought, Phil. Toronto, they got in the Super League. Did you know? They got in. They got in. Yeah, they got in. But they didn't take any money. They didn't take any money.
Right. So does that mean there's some
money
in
the
pot?
So there was £2 million swilling around, just swilling around there, and all the clubs are going, yeah, I'll have a bit.
We'll make a video.
Just think if they'd have gone. Tell you what, we'll leave that there. We might need that one day. We might need that money.
Reserves.
Or we might want to do something really good with it. Or we might want to promote the game or set up some marketing. No, what we'll do, we'll keep it. If they'd have said, right, we all vote, we're going to go to the vote, how do we as a sport say, right, 200 grand, like you said, 200 grand legal fees, we're not having it. We're going to take it. If we have to go to court, we'll all pay 40 grand out of our money and he's going. That's what they should have done.
Well, that's
and I think as a sport...
They need to do that. What they should have done is said to the clubs, let's get together, right, let's just nobody sign him. Just nobody sign him. Nobody offer him a contract, nobody show interest, nobody sign him. Then you wouldn't have a legal case.
But is that not a restraint of trade where you have made a decision where you say you're not going to employ someone on religious grounds? He'll say that is a restraint of my trade.
Well, that's what the NRL did.
Yeah, but it could be low key, don't it? Why even put feelers out? If his agent's doing the round saying, "Do you need somebody?" "Oh no, we're all right, thank you. We don't need him. We don't need that player."
So the way it stands at the moment is the ARL, who we played for when he left rugby league, the NRL, who we never actually signed for, and the Australian Rugby Union have all said we don't want him.
Yeah.
Super League have said we don't want him, but we'll have him.
In you come, lads.
Yeah. And we're becoming a home for.
What does that say? For all the great publicity that we had in the lead up to the start of the season, I felt
sick. I felt sick when I had to go on national radio, not defend it because they were more annoyed about it than I was. Saying what the hell is your sport doing?
Last Monday,
this?
We sat here and you were saying, actually, I'm quite excited about all the things that are happening around the game. Some of them are tragic circumstances, but it shows the quality and strength of the game with Howard. The day after, 2 days before the season is about to start, everybody's on the defensive.
Yeah.
And when,
Poor
again,
for me.
I'm
I
not
think
gonna.
they should have
I
had
know
a
we-
backbone and said no.
We
I'm with
also
you guys
talk
on that.
about spokespeople for the game, and we talked about that regarding how Wayne Bennett sees his role. Have you heard a spokesperson come out and talk about this? I've seen a written statement, but I haven't heard Robert Elston do these interviews on radio and television where you're having to justify the position. I haven't heard Ralph Rimmer come out and say...
No.
I think, again, that's where we're weak.
They all try
as
to
a
blame
sport.
Catalan instead of
Yeah.
saying, actually, what we're going to do is this.
Yeah, stand up.
But
for
the rules
us.
clearly are, they're not worth the paper they're written on, are they?
But then tighten your rules.
Well, that's what I mean. If you had any leadership,
Yeah.
a leader would lead in this situation.
Yeah, you cannot. To me, you cannot put out a statement saying we don't want this bloke in the sport. By the way, the bloke's in the sport.
Yeah.
To me,
What's the difference there? I want to, because we have tidied that up, haven't we? The guy did get banned, didn't he? He got banned.
got a 4-game
Andre
ban.
Gray got a 4-game ban
Yeah.
for a homophobic tweet.
Basically, someone
from
went
years
back on
ago.
his Twitter
Someone's
to
gone back.
catch him out.
So if I
And
go
he
tomorrow
didn't
and say,
sue the
I've had a
sport,
look
did he?
on Israel Folau's thing and he's made a homophobic comment, so I want you, the governing body, to react to that. And that's why I said, if you say to him, right, you can apologise and you withdraw it and you come out and say you withdraw it, then we will let you in. But if it happens again,
But
you're
the thing
gone.
is, he
But he hasn't apologised.
But he's not going to, because the last
Did he believe
tweets
it?
that he put out, even after all of this issue with having sued the ARU successfully, was about the fires in Australia.
Yeah.
The bushfires he is blaming on
Yeah.
behaviour that he doesn't agree with. Well, you can't do that.
Well, what is he Folau needs to do?
I hope he's not making a tea.
No, we haven't signed him.
Oh, we haven't
signed
signed
him.
What he needs to
He's
do
not welcome here.
is, as Tyson Fury's done, create this media personality where the sports media in this country are utter cretins at the best of times. Tyson Fury said things as bad as Izzy Folau and gets away with it.
No,
No,
I'm with you. And he's done great work, mental health. But he has, whether he meant it
But he
or
still
not.
said the gays are evil. Or
I
whatever.
know he did, and I'm not defending it, and I wouldn't defend it.
Yeah.
But he actually did apologise. He did apologise.
And-
And
but
I've
he's
said
now
this
forgotten,
before.
he's now forgotten
When
and
someone
he's on
actually
BT.
apologises, hold, what the hell are they?
Oreos,
Ginger
isn't it?
nuts and Oreos.
But it's almost forgotten. It's
You
almost
get
Sorry,
when
dear.
I'm here.
It's like the Australian Open.
Hold on, there's a crisis. This show's in crisis. There's no chocolate.
They've got T-shirts.
Oh, what I found.
What's that doing in there?
What's that doing in there? That's not a plant either. I didn't know that was there,
We're
Phil.
looking after your
Press it
health.
here for a second.
Eh?
I'm
No
concerned-
burning it.
Yeah.
No burning it. Have you?
You can argue with her if you want. I'm not arguing with her.
Oh, what are you
Merchandise.
doing?
There's a pretend bin over there, guys.
What are you
You already have
doing?
got this.
So I've got another one here. I don't know what that is. I better put it. Sorry, Phil, just right when you draw.
Here's Ian.
There's
Right.
no
This
biscuits.
show used to be about rugby league.
Oreo biscuits are
What?
good.
When was it about
Oreo,
rugby
not
league?
3.
You can dunk your ginger
When was it
nut.
about rugby league?
Starving.
Anyway,
Maybe you do need to have one of these and lighten up a little bit.
Here's Ian. Right. Cannot stand all the political correctness. Well, tough. I don't believe that someone should feel unwelcome at a rugby league match just because some idiot on the pitch who's any good at rugby league says they're going to go to hell. Whether they're a homosexual or an adulterer or an atheist
I
or a
can't-
drunk
I can't wait for the fornicators to get to
or the
you.
fornicator.
I'm going to say half of the criteria he's listed are all his teammates.
When he talks about drugs, alcoholism is a disease. He's talking about people who need help. That's not a very Christian thing to... I don't want to get... Actually, no, I don't want to get into that.
No, come on.
Because it goes down a wormhole.
I want to know what's going to happen. Say he plays, they win, he gets man of the match. Is Sky going to interview him? Give him...
Well, Sky sent a
time.
reporter to Perpignan last week to try and find him.
When is he? Is he playing at Wakefield this week?
No,
Are you
I
anticipating
don't
riots
think
in
he'll-
Wakefield?
No, but there won't be riots, but there will be protests. I don't think he will be playing this week. But
Can I make an observation now? Right,
you quite
we've
like
had
ginger
incidents. No, we're all right. I do like chocolate biscuits, though, Phil. Can you? I'll leave you.
I'm going to have an Oreo because I'm 12.
nuts. There's nothing wrong with a 12-year-old's biscuit.
Alan's
choice.
turning off.
Why? Because we're politically correct.
I don't know.
I don't even want one, but I'm just doing it out of principle.
It'll be all right on the
I
BBC.
just ride with you.
And do you know what I'm going to do as well? I'm going to eat it normally. I'm going to twist it.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about something else.
But you know,
By
I
the
don't
way,
We don't want him
it-
in
it's
anyway.
not political correctness.
No, it's
If
not.
you-
It's
if
common
if you
decency.
genuinely think
It's
it
common
is,
decency.
Why should you know?
Then you don't understand what political
Why
correctness
No,
should,
it's common
why
decency.
should people feel unwelcome in a sport they play because someone and this is by dint of Izzy Folau being any good at sport. If you're any good at something, you get away with whatever you want. Because if he wasn't any good, he'd be nowhere near the sport. You look at what happened at Leeds when 2 players were involved in an incident and one was kept at the club and one was binned off, wasn't it? It's simple as that. Always happens in sport. It's unfair.
It is. It is. How are your biscuits? All right? Oreos?
Great.
Not a fan of Oreos, I've got to be honest.
Or do we
Disappointed.
just?
You got any party rings?
Just about everyone.
That's
Close it
a
down.
god tier of a biscuit. that is.
50p in the pound shop
Too
as
much
well.
sugar in a party ring.
That's
Oh,
why they,
yeah.
that's
Well,
why
I'm
they
in
got
your club now. I'm in
That's
your
why
club.
I'm looking after you.
Never mind.
Pound.
Right, okay. We'll talk about what happened on the field then, we talk about Chris Hill. He's
Sandy's
banned.
having got eating Oreos the wrong way, but I don't know who's eating them the wrong way.
Well, I ain't had one, so it's not me.
It'll be me, I'll be eating them the wrong way. You'll be eating them the right way.
I'd like somebody to tell me if I'm eating this the wrong way. 'Cause I'll just do it.
Yes, Sandy, you come and tell Danica that to her face.
I'm just going to do it again to annoy you. That's all.
We will start then on Thursday night. Wigan beat Warrington. 16 points to 10. Chris Hill sent off. Warrington were 8-0 up, weren't they, at one point? Down to 11. I'm not having that sin bin either. I'm not having that sin bin. That was pathetic. If you'd have said to Bevan French, here's $5,000 if you can dive over the line now, he'd have dived over the line, wouldn't he? Yeah. But he fell over.
Minimal contact.
Yeah, sorry, we're not playing football, pal. Don't
Right.
do that.
It's all
By
right.
the way, he looks. I mean, you obviously saw him last year. I like the look of him. I think he's at full back.
Where's
Could
his
be
best position?
Whew. I don't know.
I
Played
don't
on the
know. I
wing last
genuinely
year.
don't
Looked
know.
great there. Played at full back there. Looked pretty tidy there. Can play at half back. Don't know.
I mean, it's great to have that choice and versatility, but I genuinely don't know where his best position is.
Can I don't like Zach playing at centre.
No, that's the thing. That's
He's a
what you
very good
sacrifice.
player, but he's a full back. He's a very good full back.
That's the thing for me.
And I don't know.
But
I
then-
think the blessing for Lamb is that so many of his utility players are that good that he
That's
can
what I mean. So
move
when,
them around.
when he's got full strength,
Yeah.
his wings so Zach is great now, especially over the season since he's got fit and he seems to really come back into his own, hasn't he? He's good in the centre, but he is better at full back.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think he is.
Do you see Bevan French as a 6? Because there is a space for Hastings. I don't know if Hastings and French is too much of a totally improvised partnership.
Yeah, to be fair, he went all right with Lola here, didn't he?
But I reckon he's earmarked to be a 6 at some stage, Bevan French. It's just whether then his pace is negated somewhat because he's too close to the play. But it was a great. I thought for a round one first game, it was full of intensity. Warrington showed it.
What about their full back, by the way? He didn't look bad. The young kid,
He
actually.
can play, can't he?
He can go.
And
he
he's
can
a
run.
winger.
Yeah, and I think once Woodip is fit, that's where you'll see him.
He'll be on the wing. And
But who's going to miss out? Charlie or Line? It's got to be Line, man, hasn't it?
Well, again, as a coach, you sort of whoever's playing. You know, what you want is competition. One of the reasons at the moment that Hull are so effective is they've got competition with players. They've got Malhaven who are playing in the reserves. That's what you want. As a coach, you want to make the difficult decisions.
But then it shows Warrington's strength, isn't it, when you've not got everybody there, that they did go down to 11 and still...
Could have won the game,
Yeah,
or could
like
have
it
tied
wasn't-
it at least.
Took
It
it to the last
didn't look
play.
at parts that they were down to 11, did it?
No.
And Wigan should have capitalised much more on that. So, were Warrington just really, really good, but had less numbers, and Wigan... Have Wigan got places to go and not capitalise on the fact that they had so much overlap at times and didn't see it?
Well, the Wigan just go, we weren't great, but we've won, and we'll be better
Yeah.
for the run out. The problem for Warrington is they've got Saints this week. They lose, if they lose, they're 4 points behind after 2 rounds.
But Warrington are top of the Moral Victory Super League, so that's
Yes,
a good
they
position.
are.
That's
Well
a
done to
good
them.
position.
Well, no, I think Huddersfield can have a moral victory as well because they
Well,
got
they
a
have an
result.
actual victory, though.
Yeah, but they got a result everyone
So they get
wanted
an
them to
extra
get.
point as well.
Yeah, like a bonus point.
I hope all the people wearing rainbow laces want to go and wear them all the time and not just do it just to make 1 point and then forget about the issues that they're wearing.
No, because that's a right pain relacing your boots. Once they're in, just leave them.
We've got one pair of boots between the 4 of us.
No, I've got some boots.
We've got a golden boot.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great game to open the season. The television viewing figures were the highest for 6 years.
Oh, is that right? Is it?
They did a
Which-
thing.
I
which
never
is
get
great.
any of these.
Well, I didn't get it either, but I saw it.
You know, my email's still not working.
I don't know if it was an email. I think it might have been a
I think it was just
tweet
a
or
story.
something.
Oh, okay.
But
We get very upset when we don't get all the emails from everyone.
I'm glad I don't get emails.
I know
I can
that
get you on Lee's list. You can get all the.
I know Thursday
What's
night
it?
isn't a popular slot for fans, but it really worked this week.
That slot is not for the fans.
There was
It's
no
for the TV
telly.
people that pay all the money to put it on TV.
but it worked. The viewing figures.
Yeah.
Was,
Do you not think it's a really nice warm up to the weekend night though?
Yeah.
I love a good Thursday
Look,
night.
everyone
game.
moans right about Thursday night rugby league, and yet the first Thursday, it's not everyone goes, "Oh, I can't believe there's no rugby on tonight. I really want to watch it." It's for the TV viewer.
And again, because the fixture was the right one in terms of distance of travel for fans, 15,000 people were there.
Warrington, good support. It was a good atmosphere. I enjoyed it. It was all right. It was a good game. And I'm looking forward to a good game at Halliwell Jones on Thursday.
I suspect that Warrington will take slightly more of that out of that defeat than Wigan did in victory, on the basis of the fact that Wigan should have been a little bit more convincing with the advantages that they had.
But they lost Powell, and that had a big impact on how they played.
Powell is massive, and I think he's one. When you talk about unsung heroes or underestimated players, he's right up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as a physical hit out, it was great for round one game.
Yeah, good. Well played to them. Friday night, Wakefield in crisis.
What?
Stuffed by Hull Kingston Rovers. Disgrace. Defend your team.
I wasn't there, I didn't see it.
Is that why they lost?
Yeah.
They weren't very good.
I'm going to plead Arsene Wenger. I did not see it.
Have we had any news on Danny Bruff's injury?
Not that I've heard.
Only his
Not as serious as first
his
thought.
good lady tweeted he's not out for the season.
There you go. It's a good
Hopefully that's not the
opportunity
case.
for Ryan Hampshire to step up because everyone.
But they've lost the fullback though, haven't they? That they
Yeah,
signed.
everyone wants him
So
to play
who will
back
come in
there.
now? Max Jowett.
Yeah. Everyone wants him to play at halfback, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's what the fans
Fair
want.
enough. I thought when I saw Ben Crook scored 4 tries, I thought, something's not right there. Not, if he'd have scored 2, I'd have gone, no, fair play, but 4?
Some deficiency opposite him, you would have thought.
Yeah, there's obviously no Ben Jones Bishop doesn't help, does it? But there's a flaw somewhere there, and the Wakefield camp were not happy with their performance.
No, I think the worry as well is that there is a team that starts off the season with a boatload of injuries and never really recovers from it. I think we've seen it virtually every season in
Have
Super League.
Wakefield ever recovered from their boatload of injuries?
You know what? I must admit, I thought that they do have a lot of injuries, but they generally are serious ones, aren't they? So I'm not so sure you can read a lot into
But then,
that.
is that just a fluke? You know, when it comes to injuries, is it a fluke thing or is it a training thing? Are you overtraining? Are you putting too much pressure on?
I don't know.
Are you? It's things like warming up, rehabbing, prehabbing. You know, do you have to
Wouldn't you
question
look at that more if that were like hamstrings or calf strains rather than, ACL, you can't really. Tom Johnson did his ACL with no one near him last year. That was just freak.
But then is that a muscle strength stuff? Are you strong around that?
Well, I've questioned that about the women's game because
Yeah.
there were a spate of ACL, as you know yourself, you've had one, but there were a spate of ACL problems, and I was like, is that because they're doing too much? I don't know. I mean, that's a different argument. They have got injuries, but they ain't got any more injuries than Hull KR. Hull KR, they rolled up, didn't they? I think that's a great win for Tony Smith.
Well, I think, again, he looked at the first 3 or 4 fixtures. They've got Hull this week. I think they've got another big one the week after. Is it Saints?
No, Saints play Hull, I think, the week after.
And I think he looked at that first game and thought, we can jag the 2 points in this one. It just takes the pressure off for the next couple of weeks. Wakefield are now going into a game with Catalans, who are coming off a really poor home defeat.
Yeah, but we'll be the neutrals' favourites this week because everyone hates the French. So
And it's
especially after
almost
Brexit,
like
so it's all good. Go on, Wake.
Bit of added pressure for Wakefield.
Punch them up.
They used to really like Catalan as well.
They were everybody's
Well,
favourite.
Wakefield instead. We're all
Yeah,
right.
but Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto's my other team now. It's fine.
We've got rhubarb.
Me and Sonny.
Yeah, no, I look just like an international team bringing it in.
So, Hull KR, big win for them,
Absolutely.
boost for them. They put out a message from Mossy Missoy, didn't they, before the game as well. That's been on social media.
I think they've
Long road
handled-
ahead for him, but
I think, again, they've used that situation both for him and the other guys that played with him in a real positive manner. In the same way, without the result this week, that Leeds are trying to do with Rob Burrow, that they're not hiding away from the fact that there is a tragedy within the camp, but they're going to try and galvanise themselves and and use it as much as a positive and supportive of the player themselves as they possibly can. And I think Tony Smith spoke absolutely brilliantly at the launch about how they were going to use that, and what's important in life, and all of that kind of thing. And good luck to them. I hope they.
I've tipped them to finish bottom, so not the start I wanted in that respect, but fair play, good win for them, and good luck to them on Friday when they go to Hull. That'll be an absolute cracker, and big crowd as well, I would have thought. Right, let's move on. Also on Friday, St Helens. You're going to be a bit scratchy in week 1. Jeez, they look pretty good, didn't they? Hey, they just look like they've been playing for the last 6 months.
We said last week that their guard wasn't going to drop, and it was everybody else's responsibility to get up to their level. I think they showed us that their level's already gone up. And whilst incredibly impressed with Hull, and if they can keep that going, there's a potential challenger there. What we saw in week 1, I mean, with the greatest respect, Salford went into that game with a lot of confidence with the way that they'd played the year before. They started the game okay, but once Saints got on a rod, I thought Ashworth and Lees coming off the bench were astonishing. On the basis of the fact that you look at Walmsley, you look at Thompson, you go, when they start, they've got this machine that's got a lot of energy and speed. But when they go off, it inevitably has to have an impact, and things will slow down for a little. No. That you can see why they haven't recruited this year. They are the real deal in every position. Lomax magnificent as well.
Do you know what? I'm a big being a middle unit. That defensively, you couldn't get out, could you? They weren't letting anybody move out of their end. And I think that's a lot harder than attack, isn't it? Because attacking plays, you move the ball around you find some spaces, you break a defensive gap, and you through. So I think if you're clever in attack, any team can be good, but I don't think you can be that consistently good in defence in week 1. They looked like such a solid unit, a wall. That kind of, like you said, they looked like they've been playing for months because everybody knew their role, that old cliche thing of, the line, and I think that was the most impressive thing for me for Saints, is how do you get through and break the line?
And James Roby wasn't playing.
Yeah, I must admit, when I saw that, I thought, Salford might have a bit half a chance of keeping this quite close. But
Tommy Makinson wasn't playing.
How long's Cook going to be out for though? He's done his MCL, hasn't he?
He's going to miss the World Club Challenge, isn't he? I think they've said. So that's
but how good was Jack Wellsby?
6 to 8 weeks on MCL.
How good was Jack Wellsby? I mean, last year we thought Wellsby had potential, but in a couple of games, particularly in London, he showed that he was raw and young. How good does he look?
Ball player, I think he's brilliant already. I just think I'd be interested to see if he plays at fullback. I think they will be looking to isolate him under the high ball because, as I've seen last year twice, he can't catch a high ball.
But I thought one of the passes he threw out for...
I think as a creator, he's brilliant. But I do think that might be, if you're playing him, I think that's something you'd be thinking, we've got to go after him, and,
who else are you going to target in that team, really? Because you can't catch you wingers.
Yeah.
But some of the fastest people in the game, internationally and in the Super League. Your forwards have just proven that they are a massive pack. But they're massive, but they're also very athletic in the sense that they can move, and they can move the ball as well. Like, who else are you going to target?
Well, I'm not saying he's not going to be a great player, but I just think he's the link you've got to look at.
You've got to find that weakness, and when he's got ball in hand, and he showed glimmers last season, he is a great player, but at the minute he's still young, like Jack Walker now. I think he's only just coming to his own. He's just owning that position now. For the first couple of seasons, he was the young, up-and-coming player where you could target under pressure. He had moments where he did, flop a little bit, but I think he's much more structured now. But that's the thing, isn't it? Now you've got to find that the youth coming through. You've got to develop them, but then you've got to find that weakness, and he is that in that team.
How good was Bentley as well?
Well, highly regarded. He's had to bide his time, hasn't he? He's had to go out on,
and then he goes
loan
off,
or whatever.
And Aaron Smith comes on. He's got a point to do because he's dropped below Bentley in the pack, and it never lessens.
No.
Well, that's the thing. You never want. Being a bench player myself now, you just think the bench is as equally good as, and it's more of a rotation. But let's be fair. If you're not in the starting 13, you're seen as not being quite as good.
Oh, I disagree with that. And
Well,
I'm not just saying because you're sat there. I actually do think there'll be horses for courses where
Yeah.
they will start the big lads or they'll bring the big lads off the
But
bench.
I also
but where
think-
was the dip? Like you say, where was the dip?
There
in
wasn't.
saying
Well,
there
there
wasn't.
wasn't.
That's
No.
what I mean, and there are still more to come. That
Yeah.
isn't their 18, 17.
The question is, they've got a World Cup challenge in 2 weeks, which clearly they are preparing for
Yes.
now, and clearly
Yeah.
they've
Will
got a
take
chance of
something
Against
winning.
my
out of it.
NRL team.
Yeah.
But as we've seen in the past, you can't not do it for 36 weeks on the trot. So is that maybe the potential weak link for them that they are going to have at some point a mental, physical dip later in the year?
But will they be so far ahead by then that
But
they
do you
can
not think
afford
that mental dip might be? They are on form. They're looking great. Are the Roosters going to ruffle them a bit by?
I mean, if you come and bash them up, or I don't
Well,
know
yeah,
how they're going to play
either
it. But
mentally, physically, like how we're saying, if they do, you don't wish injury on anybody, but there's going to come a point, like you say, that they're going to. How hard have they been working in pre-season? Have they had much of an off-season? Had the international guys? What kind of rest have they had?
yeah, so
got
it
to
is
be
a
some
fair
kind
point. It is a fair point.
I
you
mean,
know.
they are playing. I'm only saying that just purely because I don't want them to run away with it.
I just think the kids that if they felt that was going to be an issue, I think they would have gone out and signed a couple of players. I think they've got absolute confidence in who isn't making the initial 17 at the moment but is ready to step in, and some of the young kids coming up behind them. So I think they'll be fine. There may be a dip for a couple of weeks after the World Club, because I just think if you prepare for something that takes you to a high, there has to be a dip before you get back up again.
Yeah, I agree
I'm
with
just
that.
hoping for the sake of the league. If they start running away with it in week 1.
Well, it's up to everyone else to catch them up.
Yeah, it is.
Not
And
them to
also,
get worse.
it's more exciting as an entertainment package. It's more exciting, isn't it, if there are a few bouncing around that top end,
I think you're right, because the only thing that...
Well, look, they got a Hull. So do they play Hull the
big
week before the World Cup Challenge? I'm
That-
pretty
that-
sure they
that
do.
would be the perfect
so
game
that
for them
you
if
see,
they
that
did.
is.
Yeah.
Hull will look at that and Hull have got to beat Hull KR this week. They might not beat Hull KR.
But I
but
reckon Saints would want that challenge before they play the Roosters.
I don't know.
disagree with
I
that. I disagree with that.
Because I think you get to a level of intensity that you can then go into the Roosters game. And I mean,
But as we
Last
saw
time
yesterday,
they were woefully-
you are not going to play them and come through without anyone bashed up.
But
You're
when
not,
they-
it's not going to happen.
but that's the collateral damage that you've had. The ones that come
Yeah, but as
through it are
Danika
ready.
said, well, then it happens again the week out. All of a sudden, you've had 2 weeks
Well,
getting battered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
reckon
don't
that
mean result. I mean physically. There's got to be
when
a
they
fallback
played
there.
South Sydney, they were woefully underprepared
Yeah,
and got absolutely battered.
yeah.
So I think they would want to play their most likely one
What's
of
the
their nearest
turnaround?
rivals.
What's the turnaround? When do they play?
I'm trying to
Hull?
find out.
The
They,
that's
they
the
play
thing.
Saturday the
The World Cup
22nd,
Saturday night, isn't it?
and
Yeah.
I think they're at Hull on Sunday.
See, that's quite.
Pretty
that's
sure
one of
they
the
are.
shorter turnarounds.
Sunday the
isn't it?
16th, are they?
Go accept cookies. Hang on a minute.
Cookies.
Cookies, not
What about Oreo? Do you want an Oreo?
not Polka. Yeah, go on.
Have an Oreo. Excuse the hands.
Sorry. It's Phil who can't eat them properly anyway, so stand down, Danica. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Just checking,
Hull,
you know,
St
just
Helens,
like-
and then St Helens, Sydney Roosters. That is.
I think
That's a
Chris-
big cup, and they've got
Christian-
Warrington this
And
week.
it's
Yeah,
don't
quite,
no,
they?
it's
I
quite
think
a big
Christian
travel as well,
Wolf would
isn't
be
it? I know
quite
it's only the
keen on that.
M62, but they're travelling to
Yeah.
the furthest away.
Yeah.
They can.
No, I
apart
think
from-
Christian
That's a big
Wolf will
3
go.
weeks.
Yep.
Oh no!
The first
he
part
will.
of my season.
Yeah.
Who did they play after they played?
They'll be
the
up in, of
Roosters?
course, it's Leeds. But
Well, they want
Toronto.
They want an
Oh,
easy-
in Warrington, because they're not off to the Allianz anymore. And why is no one
is it
asked?
in Warrington?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Why
moved.
is nobody asked
Yeah.
why
I
that
thought
game's
they were at
been
London.
moved?
It's the
Yeah,
London
Why
series
is no one
in
asked
Warrington.
why that game's been moved? They all went to that
And
Toronto presser
we
the other
know
week.
we know why it's been moved.
Why has it been moved?
Because Saracens put the cost of hiring the stadium up by 5 times when they got their fine.
Oh, is that what it was? It's an artificial pitch.
But the hire
Cheats.
agreement was
Cheats.
X pound, and suddenly, as details were finalised, it became X pounds times 5.
Go stuck on some
Just
blood
think if
capsules.
Carnegie could win a game or two,
Yeah.
they'd be playing them next year.
Yeah.
Ah,
I'm
The
sure there's no
Sarries.
relegation in the
championship.
championship, so there's
Oh,
a
there will
chance.
be.
Sorry.
Yeah, but Sarries are going to drop all their players and just play the academy for a season.
Well, they've still
And,
got to
and
get,
their
they've still got
first
to
team
get
can play for
promoted.
Toronto.
Yeah, no, apparently they're putting all of the land loan, and we don't care about Union, but they're putting all of the Sarries on loan, and they're playing all the academy who are good enough to win the championship.
Well,
On
we'll
loan
see
to
about
Toronto.
I've asked people about the what they made of the TV programs as well, which we'll come to in a bit.
that. Okay.
Sid's review, not complimentary.
Sid, not complimentary.
Yeah, I know. Oh dear. Apparently Joshua says Danica looks great in lilac. What about the rest of us?
Oh, thanks.
Come on, equal opportunity.
You don't look great in orange, I have to say, not from where I'm sitting.
I'm looking at the screen. I need to breathe in a bit, I think, but never mind.
I've got my 1974 Christmas jumper on again.
No, I thought it was
I mean,
73.
That isn't. To be fair, we gave you a bit of stick for yours, but
It's slalom lager,
It
isn't
was.
Whoa.
It was vintage.
That's Phil's best
it's
jumper.
it's retro now.
That's Phil's
This
best
is in
jumper.
demand.
it's just the blue and the green and the stripes and the.
It's of an era. That era being the early 70s.
What, when everyone was smashed off on drugs?
Yeah,
Winters,
that would have
winters, winters of discontent.
Looks like Sergeant Pepper or
Just
something
say
like
no.
that.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Oh,
Yeah.
it feels quite rough as well.
No, that's just me.
Like old leather, eh?
It's his arm that's blue. Move on.
I don't know what's going on. So that's half of Super League done over the weekend, isn't it?
Oh, we're carrying on.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, sorry,
okay.
yeah. I was
Sorry.
Oh, that's what we're here to talk
I was slightly
about.
shocked by the people on the Facebook.
Right, okay. We will next go to the Huddersfield Giants.
Everyone loves Huddersfield this week.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Well done, Huddersfield. I think I did tip them to win last week, did I? I hope I
tipped
did,
them as
otherwise
well,
I'd
yeah.
be really disappointed because I thought
Well,
to you I had done.
Because it was apparently it was broken the spreadsheet, but our man who fixes it and does it all together.
Maybe it was broken.
Well, someone's done it for me, right? And then I forgot about it last week. It's David, who's in Indonesia, who did the spreadsheet, but he didn't work. But he's fixed it. Where were you, Mark Wilson? Yeah, we both tipped Huddersfield.
Oh, you tipped them as well, did you?
Yeah.
Very good.
So obviously Brexit means Brexit. We can't tip the French. So yeah.
Who did I get? Oh, Toronto.
Yeah.
Why did
I
pick them?
can't remember picking Toronto.
Because
So
they
did
beat
I get 5
Castleford.
out of 6? Anyway, we'll move on. I don't want to brag about it. But Toronto lost to Castleford.
Well, do you want to do Huddersfield first?
Oh, yeah,
Finish
sorry.
off?
Sorry. I
Well,
just didn't want to
Huddersfield.
talk about Catalans.
Well, no, we
Let's
don't.
not talk about them.
But
Let's
it's
just
great.
talk
We
about
don't
the
have
fact
to.
that
We can talk
Huddersfield-
about how good Huddersfield
Uh,
is.
Huddersfield
Caesar.
travelled in
Se-
their first game a long way.
I didn't think they get
And
back
what?
to the country.
I have to say, and I did tweet this on Saturday, is I looked at their team and I thought, wow, that looks quite good. They had a
The
big
bench looked
bench.
good. The bench
Yeah.
looked
Look
good.
at that.
You know, so they've... do
Something for the readers on page 8. Of
What's
the,
that?
It's not bad
page
for an
8
old
of
boy,
League
is
Weekly.
he?
you mean McGilvery?
Page 8 fellas in League Weekly these days.
Why is that necessary?
Ask League Weekly.
I don't know.
It's League
quite
Express.
appreciate it. It's
Ask
all
League
right.
Express. I get them mixed up these days.
So they've signed well. They had all the key bodies on the field and they won.
I only saw the highlights post-match, and Aidan Caesar was involved in absolutely everything. He was either making them or scoring them. We
Who
said
did the report in the paper, by the way? How
it'll be
did they write?
Stephen Denise Brady, I would have thought, because they're out in.
I just realised who Josh was in Lilac.
I was just some kind of troll.
Just my number one fan.
Well, no, I'm sat next to him.
Just brilliant from Caesar. Ran the show, start to finish.
Yeah, and
Great.
did anyone else play?
Yeah.
No, it is a great win to go there, especially early in the season and win like that. I mean, interesting. I'm going to say it now. I think they will beat Leeds on Sunday, and this is not my anti-Leeds speaking. I think they will beat Leeds
I think
because I think at the minute, I think they think they're. Oh hell! I've just killed. Oh, it was a ref.
I think that
I've
is
just
three.
I've just got done for touching the
I
ref.
think that is 3 matches for
Is that Chris
touching the ref.
Houston?
That sounded like quite a weighty trophy. To me.
Yeah. So great start.
Brilliant. I think the people talk about Man of Steel far too early, but Caesar is going to stand out in that team. And if every week he is accumulating points because he's fit and playing the way he did in Perpignan, put some money on him
Can
as
I
an
be?
outside
Can I
bet
be devil's
for Man of
advocate?
Steel.
Right.
It wouldn't be Mark if you weren't.
One game in.
Oh, no, exactly.
When's he going back to the NRL? Because if he's that good,
At the end
and
of
he
this
is that
season.
good.
At the end of this
Yeah,
season.
but it's horrible, isn't it? But he's that good.
But
Why the hell's he playing at Huddersfield?
It's a brilliant signing.
It is a brilliant
I mean,
signing.
what we'll know within a few weeks is whether Canberra have made a mistake bringing George Williams in to replace him. But you can imagine that an NRL club will be who might need a halfback next year. Will be monitoring how well he's going over.
Enjoy him while he's here.
Absolutely.
Enjoy him
Exactly,
while
live in
he's
the
here.
moment, live in the season.
Yeah.
And if you're not a fan of Huddersfield, but they're playing your team, go and watch him because he's one of the superstars of this competition. Interestingly, he clearly had an impact on his team that James Maloney didn't on his. and you don't read anything into one game at the start of the season.
Yeah,
But
don't say that now, and it'll be great.
no, I'm just saying it's interesting that was the battle. If Falau's story hadn't broken and overshadowed the game, we would have been talking about how great it is that two of the guys that have been identified as superstars of the new season.
Yeah.
In fact, that battle alone was clearly won by Aidan Caesar.
It makes you wonder, though, mentally, what the Dragons' mood was
Absolutely.
like going into that one.
We don't
mentioned
know.
it earlier,
Yeah.
but, you know,
Yeah,
it's
well,
been
I'm
a bad
just
week
about
for
to
the
say
club.
that. Have the team gone? You're not listening to our opinion, so
Yeah.
Don't know. I think we'll see if they react this week when they play Wakefield.
Wakefield.
Because you're going to tip Catalan to beat Wakefield, aren't you?
No.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
We're not
actually.
tipping Catalans.
No.
No, not anymore. I'm not. I'm saying,
No,
but
tip Wakefield because they're going away.
Where's that T-shirt that Danika threw away? Where is
It's
it?
over there.
We need it now because we're talking about Leeds.
Well, here's Catherine trying to get Leeds some money off them. What about Leeds playing in the wrong shirts, causing a clash of colours? Cas got a £4,000 fine when they took the wrong shirts and had to borrow.
Leeds weren't playing in the wrong shirts.
Yeah,
they were the home team.
I
They
don't
played-
know. That
gonna
doesn't
defend
necessarily
Leeds on
matter
this
though.
one.
There will have been clearly the emails come and the guy's going, "Oh, black, blue, yeah, that'll be all right."
I'm going to
But
defend Leeds
also,
on
I
this one.
think Richie's right that you cannot have your away kit so close to your home kit.
You can't have
Surely,
Navy away
Hull
kit
have
with a
to
black and
have
white home.
I
a predominantly
completely agree.
light-coloured.
Do we need to go basketball and the away team has a white kit just in case?
NFL do it, don't they? Every game in the NFL has a team in a dark shirt and a team in a light shirt, and that was in the era of black and white photography, sports photography.
Yeah.
So that when those pictures were shown on a Monday morning,
If,
you could easily identify this. It's not difficult.
You were doing the commentary yesterday. If Ted Lowe had been there doing it for the BBC in the olden days,
I didn't
instead of the
notice
snooker,
though. I didn't notice.
Oh, let's see. They're in the black and whites, going from left to right. You'd have been doing that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well,
I mean, I hate to
I
like,
didn't notice it too bad. I
give
didn't
you a
think it was that
compliment
bad.
that, but maybe just because you're quite capable that you can actually tell the difference between the two teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe no. I've
No,
seen it on the
that's
picture on the
supposed to
telly
be
and
that,
gone,
yeah.
wow, that looks
Yeah.
awful. But when I was there, I never really noticed. You know, you're that
But you were
I-
primed and
ready to go.
No,
And
but
you
then there was,
recognised the
there
player.
was a few
Few
comments
on
in the
Saturday,
stands
just to
that
make
said,
sure.
"What's happening? They're too similar."
Yeah, it was awful. But that needs review. That's not any club's fault. I think that is the fault of the guy who signed
he's
that
supposed
off.
to go
Yeah.
to...
Yeah.
Have you got a away kit this year?
We haven't got a kit yet.
No. Oh, well, I
No,
tell you,
I don't think.
just because but last year when you played Warrington, it was ridiculous in the cup.
But then they played us, so did Warrington need an away kit?
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. We'll blame Warrington, actually. Yeah, I'll blame Warrington.
I just don't understand what is the point of having an away kit if when you go to a ground and your kit
Yeah.
clashes with a home
I
kit, you
think
don't
white.
buy
I
your
think
away
you've got to have a
kit.
white
Should
kit.
it
Every
be
team's
a
got a white
should it
kit.
be a
Yellow
Roman
or
away
whatever,
kit, or
but-
should it just be an alternative?
Well, the key there is alternative. Well, black to blue is not really an alternative, is it?
Because no, exactly. But then
It does give
Cas
clubs
were,
an opportunity.
Cas were technically the away team, weren't they, on Sunday?
They were.
And isn't their away kit greyish, like a light grey,
Yeah.
and therefore would
They've
it
got
be
three
too
kits as
similar
well.
to the Toronto kit? So they just played with an alternative kit, not their away kit.
I don't know.
Gives
Anyway.
clubs an excuse to bring out a third kit anyway.
You'd have thought
It does.
where we are in the world that we could have come up with two teams that look
You
slightly
would have.
different.
Anyway,
Anyway,
let's
they changed.
never
It's
mind
been
the
no-
kick clash.
Yeah,
Never
because
mind
the
kick
big clash.
I mean, that's a good distractor, isn't it?
The big
Yeah.
clash.
Yeah.
The big
It's
clash.
a real
Come
deal.
on, here they are. Hull FC, they're big.
Well,
Big pack of.
do you want to do Toronto first? Because we're going to do it in the order of the games were played.
God's sake.
It's like all the build-up. This
Right, we'll rewind.
I have to say
Toronto,
that as
yeah.
an event, and you were there.
Yeah.
It really worked.
I got there.
The
I got
double header
there.
was great.
I got there about 5 minutes after kick-off. I had to go get my ticket, and I got into the press box. There was no room. I was getting really upset. But then I thought, I'll sit somewhere else. I thought, there's nowhere to sit. It's full. There must have been there must have been 10,000, at least 10,000 people.
We
there
were saying that
at
if
kick-off.
that game had been played at Castleford,
Yeah,
there would not have been as many people there.
yeah.
And a lot of them stayed, so that by the time Leeds played Hull, and full credit to the Hull fans that clearly were there, came for both games and made a day of it, even though it was raining on the Western Terrace. I thought it was a great event for Super
Yeah, it
League.
was. It was. And I'm just wondering if that's a bit
Has
of a
it
blueprint.
set a precedent?
Yeah, I think it has. And I think, and again, this is something Robert Elson should be looking at. He's saying, because he did tell it, Luke fixtures are here 1 year. Well, 2 years later, they're still here. So, Robert, we need you to do something now. And I think you say to teams, you're taking one of your games, be it you lose one this year, you get one next year. and you're going on the road, and we're going to have double headers, and we're going to go to different places because
works.
the atmosphere yesterday was brilliant. Sonny Bill Williams come on, dropped the ball, rounds of the kitchen off everyone. Yeah, but it was
exactly.
And you could see. I won't say he was laughing because he wasn't happy, but he actually had a smile on his face, and it was like, yeah, good. This is good. No one was. There was some good points scored, people clapping, everyone enjoyed it. No one was like, oh, bullets, cuss.
Well, neither of the games were what you would call competitive.
No, they weren't.
It didn't stop people really enjoying being part. I mean, Sandy will tell you there were about 120 people in the Toronto party. Now,
what, cardboard cutouts?
Real people.
I'm hoping
some of
How
them.
did she get all them in?
Some of them actually flew in from Canada. Others were exiles.
I was driving to Headingley and there was for a conference at 9:00 on Sunday morning, and there were Toronto people, but jackets at 9:00 in Headingley on the streets.
Probably saw them by Steve Maskell.
And even though they lost, they loved being part of that event.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the Canadian American sports mentality. Sport is an entertaining commodity, isn't it? It's not. Obviously, it's sport and it's about what the fixtures are, but it's an entertaining game and fixture, and people watch it because they want entertainment, much like a soap or a. And that's the buying. That's why I love the international game. Toronto have got loads of should we have them? Shouldn't we have them? Yes, people love watching.
But I've said this the other week, and I covered a lot of their games last year. Is you look at the fan, you get to see because obviously the cameras on when people are coming in milling around, and then they do all watch the game. They're having a beer and whatever, but they are all watching it. Some of them might not know what's happening, but they all actively watch what's going on. And I just thought it was a great event yesterday, and I think we need to say, right, we're going to do more. I'm really disappointed that game's at Warrington. I didn't know that. Is that a double header or is that just a one-off?
It's a single.
So again, how many people with the best will in the world are going to go watch that might have gone and watched?
They've got a double header at
York.
Is it York?
Yeah, Wakefield. Yeah.
But then for those games, should you not then be double headering with the championship sides? And,
maybe.
And offering,
maybe.
Because you get a good crowd yesterday for was it Dewsbury, the Bradford game?
Dewsbury.
Because I know that there's a championship. I think Bradford Dewsbury play on the Sunday before Leeds play Wakefield. So that's an opportunity that, therefore, we need to look into. Develop will more than 2,000 people come if you're getting a championship game followed by Toronto? Because it's a spectacle. They've got some good signings. You've got people you want to watch play rugby.
The national newspaper reporters were sent to that game to report on Sonny, purely Sonny. I want 750 words on your mate Sonny Bill. Now we can't buy that kind of publicity at the moment. And with the greatest respect, however well Castleford may have played, the headline is Sonny Bill dropped the ball twice.
Yeah.
Which I think is
dropped
harsh.
it more than twice.
I have to say, I was impressed with him doing 55 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
Which I know probably wasn't part of the original plan.
You better get used to it.
But I thought it was aerobically, he was good.
No, he did.
He
looks after his body now, doesn't he?
Well, you would know because you stood next to it.
Oh, well, I know.
I told you I saw him at the shirt launch last week, at the Super League launch, and he come out of the thing. I went like that, and then he's just big. He's a big man. But anyway, they got beat, and the worry is they ain't got any players, mate. That's the problem.
That is a worry. John Wilkin injured, went off with concussion, didn't he? So he might not be.
Was that a result of that late tackle?
Yeah, he might not be playing. But clearly there are some stories in the trade press this morning about the likelihood is that they're going to get another couple of players and
from Man City apparently, which will be interesting.
That's going to be
Sergio Aguero having a game.
Here's a thought, right? Here's a thought, Toronto. Why don't they sell one of their players? Like a Gareth O'Brien, who would be, I would say, would easily get another.
And buy three
50 grand players.
Well, maybe that's.
The facts are, as we mentioned last week, their salary cap management has been abysmal. And this is not to do with Sonny. We know Sonny Bill is at 150 or whatever. It's irrelevant. Where's the other £2 million gone?
And the other thing as well is that O'Brien didn't play, and when you take a key guy out of a team, when you've only got so few players, it really does have an impact.
Oh no, huge.
I'm just hoping Sandy and all her Canadian friends come down to the Mobile Rocket Stadium on when is it? 15th of May? When do we play them?
Shout out
17th of May.
John and Alan, by the way.
The Canadians to come to the
Wakefield. The home of Rugby League, the Mobile Rocket Stadium, yes.
They can go to the Hepworth Gallery.
No, I'm all for building the crowds, but don't build Wakefield to be something that's not.
As Nicholas...
Whoa,
They will not have experienced the facility they're going to be presented with.
We've started off.
Some of these guys have beaten Bradford. They're no worries.
We started off at the real
Henry
deal.
Moore, Castleford Noises, Leeds. You're making bloody Jay McDonald next. You can't have it.
With Nick Martin Kellner. Shout out to John and Alan, by the way, who came over from Canada for the game. They've been supporting the sport avidly for 2 years. They'd never heard of it. And we're in this very studio wanting
is that who was here, was it?
Yeah.
When we got sacked last week.
I think they're still here. They go back tomorrow. So if you're watching, guys, or when you get home.
I'm getting very worried now, by the way, about the fact that I went to Leeds and quite a lot of people thought, I love listening to the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Yeah, I went on Thursday, it happened again. I'm in the pub on Saturday, it happens again. It's not on this.
You've got stalkers.
It's not on. Next week I'll be getting messages in what I were doing on Saturday night.
Good job you haven't got a personalised number plate. People can follow you.
Well, to be fair, I wanted in a fit state to drive, so that's irrelevant this week. But anyway, we'll move on.
So yeah, come to Wakefield Sunday.
So
we'll give you a grand tour. I saw you had a grand tour of Leeds. We'll give you the grand tour.
You just cut off then on the podcast. You said I'll give you a grand. They all come up. Right, where's my grand?
What do you reckon to Cass? Because not convincing, I didn't think.
I thought they'd come out a little bit in the second half, looking like they knew they'd won.
Yes, I think Darryl almost said that.
In the greatest of respects, that little bit of arrogance that I always think that Cass sometimes have, which is their downfall. Too complacent, too comfortable. You know, a young, flashy side that can really play when they're on the money. But it was a bit disappointing. You know, you still want to play. You still want to push yourself. You're round one. You need to test your limits. And they didn't. And they just came out and looked a bit...
Yeah, I said last week I thought Cass would finish in the bottom four, and I got a bit of stick for that on Twitter.
Right.
I think I still stand by it. I don't think
I saw
anything
the other day. 1 week.
No, you can't. And if they'd won 80-0, you can't. I'm just not sure
there is
about
no
them at the
ruthlessness.
minute.
Hull were absolutely ruthless in everything that they did, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But
they eased off second half.
But there was at no point did they look anything other than in just complete control.
Yeah.
They could have done whatever. But other than Jake Truman, there were periods in that game where Cass looked really flat. And they're going to have to be better. I don't know.
Well, that's it. You don't know, do you? And it just looked. That's the appearance.
They've got Wigan this week. I would have thought that Darryl would have said, you need to keep up in a level.
Sorry, I'm missing something here.
No,
what's happening?
She's lit the blue touch paper, hasn't she? Saying Castleford are arrogant because now all the Castleford people are on. Saying,
can I just let you know my favourite moment of yesterday was walking around with our trophies and walking past the Cats fans that were booing us and saying what the Cats fans need to say. And all they do was just shut my trophy. I love it.
Well, the good news, as I've told you, the good
news.
Well,
the idea were not to be as controversial.
I know. The good news is I've tipped Saints to win everything in Women's Rugby League this year. So well done on winning the treble, and we'll look forward to seeing you bringing in the trophies next year.
Hey, I think you've done well there.
Right. Anyway, Leeds. Why did Conrad Hurrell not go off when he got a head knock?
No, he should have clearly gone off earlier than he did.
Yeah.
When it happened, everybody around us went.
Yeah,
he could barely get up. He was tottering about all over the place.
Staggering around.
And then he went back into defence. Well, when I say went back into the defensive line, he wasn't capable of stopping Largo. He didn't know where he was.
No.
So I think there was too much
of
a delay in getting him off the field. I think when you see somebody who has when the two cast players collided, it was obvious they both had to go off. One was worse than the other, but there was no question that either of those would have stayed on. Oh, let's monitor them for 5 minutes. Yeah, we've got to be sensible. If you're gonna send a guy off and give him 3 games for attacking the head, if a bloke goes down and clearly he's unstable on his feet, he has to go straight off.
Yeah, I think they might get in a bother for that, Leeds.
I don't know how that's monitored.
I work well with the medical staff there. There's a protocol, and the protocol, the men's team, the HIA stuff, the women's team. It's all the same. Is it a thing with? We've all spoken to Conrad Hurrell. He's a funny guy. At times, it often doesn't seem like he knows his own name, in the greatest of respects. He's a lovely guy. Have they missed something and they've seen it late? They've gone on. You get the 5 questions. Bum bum bum. He's answered them. He's seen.
Yeah, but come on, Danika.
I didn't.
He looked like me on Saturday night. To be fair, staggering round. He was clearly not right. And the fact that he was like holding his head for about 2 minutes after it happened, and it's like, I just can't believe that.
I saw the back tail of it, so I don't really know, but you're hoping that the medical staff at the time do what they think is best to do, and maybe it's going to be reviewed and say, did you... What is the outcome of that? But at that time, you make a decision, don't you? And
look, I'm not saying it's anything decided.
I'm sure they will follow.
It's worrying that in fact, I'm not being rude. He goes to tackle Millargo and he gets another bang on the head. It's
as a lay person, something didn't look quite right. I mean, we're not involved in the medical procedures that he went through on the field.
It's an observation.
It didn't look right. It didn't look well.
It didn't look right, and it ultimately was proved because he went off and it wasn't right, was it? So
we've been asked by a couple of people about to question Leeds' lack of size. Obviously, Hull are big buggers.
Did anyone listen last week? What did I say to Phil? Your pack's not big enough, mate.
The thing about, Hull's recruitment has been size orientated. Other than maybe St Helens, I'm not sure anybody can hold that Hull pack when they play like they did. The issue for Hull, who were magnificent, and had a bench that was absolutely enormous, and had Savelio play the best he's played for 3 years. Sate came off the bench, was brilliant. Sau was fantastic. They were enormous, but they have made a conscious decision that the way they're going to play this year is big. Now, I don't think, having watched the Castleford-Toronto game, I don't think Leeds' pack was that much smaller than the Castle-Toronto. I just think they came up against a big pack that played magnificently. And yes, without Samana Fanai starting, I think to play against the biggest...
He was the only one missing though, wasn't he?
No, I'm saying to play...
No, I'm asking a question. He was the only one missing.
Yeah, to play against... Well, and Leeming, who clearly, if you've got big men in the middle of the field, you want somebody to run them around a little bit, and Leeds didn't do that enough.
Well, who was it was targeted, wasn't he? Every time.
Yeah, Dwyer.
They just ran at him every time, didn't they?
So, but I think that if you're going to try and fight fire with fire, you've got to have all your fire out
there. But as
I
just think Hull, who tried to hit back, you can't do it on your own.
No,
you
it
can't
needed
do it on your own.
And
I just think their pack's not big enough.
It wasn't yesterday. You looked at the respective benches. You're bringing on Donaldson, Myler. Clearly they are not the same size and profile. The thing about Hull is, if Hull can play like that for the majority of this season, they can be genuine contenders. Can they do it is the question that's been asked of Hull for the last 3 or 4 seasons, because there is likely now in 3 weeks' time to get beaten by a similar score, because that's the Hull that we've seen. I think they looked different yesterday. Yeah. They've got that balance right at the moment where they, like St Helens did in the first game, they can rotate their big men and that momentum never lessens.
And I also think you put a Sneed behind a forward pack like that, and his game becomes a whole lot easier.
And the other thing we spoke about,
he's got time, hasn't he? He's got time.
Connor. What is Connor going to be, and where is his best position? This is a debate we've all been having for a year and a half, with as much an eye on the international scene as the domestic one. Playing behind that pack, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah,
he was absolutely superb. I think in his decision making, he frightened the Leeds defence with what he was going to do or what he wasn't going to do. He ran with freedom and at will into gaps, but he dropped people off back on the inside. He looked like a standoff yesterday.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time last year we were saying, well, he wants the number 6 shirt, but he doesn't look like it's.
Well, he didn't.
He did yesterday.
Yeah, he did yesterday.
And if he can do that every week, I said it's competition for places as well.
Yeah.
He knows
Jamie Shaw the same, because there's rumours Connor or Kelly could play at fullback, and all of a sudden he's coming out.
Neck. Fanua played in the reserves, and
can I just...
Adam Swift played in the reserves.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Danny Houghton's due to come back.
How annoyed, I was going to say something else, would you be if you're Adam Swift? And I mentioned this when they signed Fanua. He's left Saints because he can't get in the team because he's got 2 world-class wingers in front of him, and he goes there, he ain't going to play there. Well, he'll not play.
If Nalago can improve to the level... the improvement he's gone from his first season to what he was yesterday is enormous. No, if he can keep improving at that level, he's a shoo-in for the dream team.
He ain't going to play. I just don't see him playing. I just feel so sorry for the kid. He's been mugged, hasn't he, really? But anyway,
like Dawson Jones, they had to let him go because he wasn't going to be 5th choice winger.
Yeah. I see what I've noticed in the first round of Super League, and I like it. A lot of passing, players going down on their knees and still passing, almost like rugby union when they fall over and they just pop the ball. Cam yesterday shouldered it off the floor. So a couple of times Warrington did it, and you think, he's tackled, and they knocks the arm on it the floor. That speeds the game. Well, I think that's a real. I don't know why it hadn't happened before. It might have just been it has, and I've never noticed it. But I thought it was really obvious.
I think even
that players are making an attempt, even when they go down, not to actually stay on their knees and look to pass the ball.
Well, even the 10 minutes where Leeds were good at the beginning of the game, they created 2 clear-cut chances, and they couldn't take them. But that's because they were playing a more expressive and expansive brand of rugby than they have for the last couple of seasons. Now, they didn't have the power to back it up, and a couple of players on the left where they would have attacked weren't there. But I do think the goal line defence that we particularly saw in that game from both sides, stopping tries by holding guys up, was admirable.
Yeah.
And the ability to promote the ball. Because it's all right having big men, but it's like Savelio set up a fantastic couple of tries because he slipped the ball out. That's what we want to see.
Luke Gale, thought he did all right.
Yep.
Thought he looked lively. As a Leeds in crisis person, I'd say I thought he looks pretty live. I think he'd be happy with that.
He was certainly tested.
Yeah,
coming up against the biggest pack he's going to face.
I thought
he took some hammer. And he got well played on.
I was quite pleased about that. I thought, against lesser opposition, he probably would have created a lot more than he did. So a positive there.
Yeah. Not many, but that was one.
No, not many.
Cameron Smith was another one.
Yes,
61 tackles.
I give him big raps on the radio. Even I didn't realise he'd made that many tackles. By the way, did you see that? Did you see that tweet I sent?
Yes.
Super League, whoever sent that tweet out wants shooting. Have you seen it?
No.
They corrected it, didn't they, midway through?
Oh, did they correct it?
Yeah. The right one's there now.
It was, it wasn't great. It had, just for the dear listener, it had a list of tackles made. Cameron Smith of Leeds with a St Helens badge.
Wow.
Joey Lussick of Salford with a Catalans badge. John Wilkin with a Hull badge. James Bentley with a Cass badge. And Matt Pry got a Leeds one. So it was just like, oh, come on, guys, be better than that. Be better than that.
You know, that make mistakes. Like when Sky put the Ed Hazard scoring that try.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
No, it shows that Sky hate rugby league. And, it's like,
it's not like someone's pressed the wrong button.
Like, you went to Cass early in the season last year and got heavily beaten.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way that the men did yesterday. It's not the be-all and end-all in round one.
No, it's not. You're absolutely right. It's just... your round one needs to be a bit of a confidence booster, doesn't it? Everyone keeps, I had loads of comments yesterday, we played so well in the pre-season games. We didn't really play like competing teams in the pre-season games. The trial matches are for run out your newbies, run out your injured coming back, have a run out of the legs. Your first round is your confidence round, isn't it? Because that's the round that counts.
I thought there were problems against Bradford when Bradford had their big forwards on. I thought Leeds struggled. All right, it was a friendly, but it didn't. It got a bit spiky, didn't it? At times. I just don't think the pack's big enough. I don't think it's big enough.
There is that argument, and I, like you said, that against lesser teams they'll be all right. But then, do you want to compete with the bigger packs? So therefore, do you need to find?
I think that they're in the market for another middle, as they're now.
Yeah, but is one middle going to make the difference?
Well, I just think they need a little bit more
we've
size.
got Matt.
I thought Pryor went all right as well.
45.
Yeah, we didn't mention him. I thought he went all right.
Then, when Matt was back, because I think Ava's back this week, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think the next 2 rounds are big for Leeds. Huddersfield away, Hull KR at home.
Yeah.
We've got to talk about the Championship. Well, I want to talk about those TV programmes as well, but no one seems to be that bothered by them. Although I will say that whoever wrote that letter to League Weekly today, if you can't be bothered putting your name to a letter you're getting published in the paper, make a name up like I always do. At least have the balls to do that. Hide behind a different person's name who doesn't exist.
Oh dear.
Still gets printed because they just print any old crap as is seen in both papers. I thought some of the comments in that letter in League Weekly about people involved in the programme were just disrespectful and not needing.
I didn't watch it, so I can't comment. I didn't watch it because I didn't know it was on immediately after the game, and I thought,
I'm talking about the other thing.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about the Inside Super League programme.
Okay.
But if people don't like We Play League, then I don't know what we can do for them.
Well, can I tell you some inside information about the other programme? That's a purely production thing in defence of the presenters.
Oh, this is why
the presenters were told to do what they did, and they did exactly that.
This may or may not be in the next issue of 4020 magazine, because I've written a review of it, and I've pretty much said that. So.
But also, it's week 1, and as we're saying, you can't really judge too much in week 1 on the field. If it's a new programme and a new concept, it's week 1. It's not going to be the best it can possibly be until they've tried a few things.
15 minutes with George Burgess? No, because he hasn't really got much to say. and he's not a charismatic.
I'll tell you what, the last time I saw someone get run over like that in the Super League, it was like when I got run over in the PDRL, wasn't it?
It wasn't the most impressive.
At least the guy I ran into fell over.
But
not the most auspicious of debuts, was it?
Terrible. Although he has got an injury, we're told, so that's no good.
Although I'm not sure if is We Play League aimed at us. I'm not sure it is. I think it's aimed at a wider audience who don't know anything about any of these people and their wider backstories. That's why there's some little timeline inaccuracies in there. In the first episode, they say, Justin Holbrook's leaving Saints, which wasn't announced till after the cup final. Around the cup final.
Yeah, it was after
the semi-final, wasn't it?
Was it?
So months later, but it's the programme is very good, and it's
artistic licence for dramatic effect.
It's what people have wanted for years when they say, bring back Rugby League Raw, and then they bring back a more flashier, artistic version of it. It's arty. Inside Super League is arty. It's creative. It's created by creatives and not by people. If we did a highlights programme of the Championships, which we were going to do, weren't we? But we weren't allowed to. It wouldn't have been anything like what they've done.
No.
It's their creative people and we're functional people.
Yeah.
And that's just the way we are. That's why we've got two.
We wear leather sweaters.
Yeah.
I like it.
Right, you want to talk about the Championship?
Yeah, because people moaned about us last week.
No, let's get on with it then. Lee kicked off the season by beating Dewsbury in front of 1,700 fans on Friday night, so not the worst crowd. Lee done well, 36-10 winners. They're going to be up there, aren't they?
Yeah, signed really well.
Yeah, I thought probably the three big games yesterday, if you like, or at the weekend. Toulouse beat York 22-10.
I saw the highlights of that. A great game for a first week contest. Both teams were really up for it. Toulouse went 20 minutes with 12 men after a sending off and finished strongly. So I think they're justified as one of the favourites. But some people thought York might have second season syndrome. That they again looked like they were going to be a really tidy outfit this year.
Team Gav as well, by the way. Just talking about York. You see he got suspended on Twitter yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
About the dog thing?
Yeah.
Although I texted him the other day and he hadn't replied, so if he's watching, that's rude.
Team Sam. So Toulouse versus York was the first game on the app this year, which of course is available to everyone who's got the app and not everyone who's not got the app. Should still be on YouTube and Facebook or whatever. But
okay, I think Toulouse will get promoted this year. I really do. Halifax 18, Sheffield 17.
Trying the last minute.
Big game that, because I think those two are going to be there, and you want to win early on, like Danika said. You want to boost your confidence in week. We no better way to do that than winning at home, and that's what Halifax did.
That Scott Morrell chap, he never knows when he's beaten.
No, he doesn't.
I'm sure there'll be a feature on the R-League app about him this week.
Yeah. And Bradford 14, London 18 in front of 2,637.
Dewsbury.
Bradford.
London. You're off to see him this week, aren't you?
I am at York. Yeah, I am.
Be a good game.
I've got mixed feelings about that actually.
In respect,
I've got buyer's remorse that I've bought a ticket. I'm thinking I could have gone somewhere for free on Sunday.
I could have got a ticket. I can get you a wake.
Only 15 quid, I think. So, although that's what I told it were costing. So, I am going to go as a fan of a thing. It's going to be interesting, I think, for Bradford.
A season ticket for Wakey.
For Bradford, can they produce? I mean, it sounds like they put up a good fight. They lost by 4, but they lost. It'll be a tough year for the Bulls, I think.
London have had an amazing turnaround of personnel.
Yeah.
So to gel in week 1 in arguably one of the toughest matches they're going to have all season away at resurgent Bradford.
Yeah. Well, it's not said that they both had to gel.
Yeah.
So
but I think that is a tough assignment to go to Bradford with.
I just think playing Bradford now or in 7 or 8 weeks when they're a bit bashed up and light on numbers might be a bit harder this way. That's how I'd look at it. They might look at London the same. I don't know, but
it just says that Danny Ward's a great coach, which we knew anyway.
Yeah, I did wish him luck on Sunday.
I think that's a big result for London because again, it's easy when you're dropping into a lower division and you've had a big changeover of personnel. It's tough to start again for the whole club. So to start with a win. Good luck to them. I think that's a big result for London, I think.
And Widnes who've linked up with Warrington, which is interesting.
Well,
I'm liking.
Do you know
I'm liking what I'm hearing about Widnes at the minute.
Do you know what's interesting though? A lot of the issues that were spoken about 25 years ago, involving the M word,
right,
are starting to come to roost at reserve grade level.
Okay.
Which is really interesting, just to see how that goes. You know, that Huddersfield and Halifax are joining up reserve grade, and Widnes and Warrington, and all of the things that Swinton and Salford, we were told were totally unpalatable.
Right.
25 years down the
Maurice
line.
Lindsay knew.
Well, I'm not saying that it should be at first team level, but there clearly is. The way we are at the moment with participation numbers, there is a relevance to making the best of what you've got. I mean, I don't know if there are other people that go down that route. I have a feeling that Leeds and Featherstone will become more of a formal partnership at reserve grade
I was
level.
going to say, that's pretty much what they've been doing, isn't it, for the
Yeah.
last few years?
Well, again, if you'd have proposed that in 1995, that's when we had demonstrations in the street and people wanted to, run Maurice Lindsay over at Wembley when he was crossing the road.
I think Scott's still
I was
does
going to
that.
say that's going, isn't it? It's either the M word or the F word, isn't it?
But it's interesting because it's happening organically. And,
people are realising.
I think you're right that Widner's reinvention and the people that they've got there at the club that have salvaged it and now moved it to a sustainable level is fantastic. But if you're topping that up with some players from Warrington, is that the way to go?
Yeah,
I think
36-6 winners.
Well, it's just growing the game, isn't it? Like, that's just you're helping the development of the game at least, and I think that's what Featherstone have done for. You look at Alex Sutcliffe. I know he's injured, but he's come on leaps and bounds from being at Featherstone, and Cam's had a go, and it's helped them knowing.
Callum McClelland, who's become a man by playing for.
Well, Callum said, he said that the only way he's developed is by playing against men, big men. So
and if you can't do that with the way the structure is at the moment because there isn't enough players to join forces, it's just interesting.
The only thing is, isn't it? The Featherstone are essentially doing a lot of the work, aren't they? And then a season later, the Leeds are going to strip the goods.
We can't condone wanting to run over Maurice Lindsay.
No,
it's not legal.
No,
we didn't say that was something you needed to do.
No, it was some of the listeners think it is.
I can remember coming out of. I think it was Wembley around the time that Super League was coming in, and there were people as he was crossing the road revving up their engines. They were after him.
Swinton beat Whitehaven 14-0, and Featherstone had a good win against Batley. Featherstone will be in the top 5.
That the Whitehaven crowd was just 800?
No, I think it's all this. Cumbria's a hotbed of rugby league. I'm not saying it at amateur level, but professional level, it's dying. They need to sort that out. They need between them. We just talked about pooling resources and whatever. They need between them to come up with a plan. And again, maybe Mr. Elston at Super League level should be having these talks with him, saying, "Look, guys, I'm going to offer you a seat at the table, but this is what it's going to cost you, or this is how I expect you to deal with it." I don't know.
Well, I can't wait for that game when in League One Monday the Cumbrian Lakers take on Liverpool City. It's going to be great.
It is.
Carsten asked us last week, and he's asked again this week to talk about the Matt Diskins story. I'm just not sure what we can say about it.
The highest attendance, by the way, was at Toulouse in the Championship, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, at their new stadium. Very nice stadium. You'll be going there, will you? Going there?
Hoping so, yeah. End of May.
Very good.
I'm just not sure what we can say about the story. It's.
I don't feel comfortable talking about it until you've actually personally interviewed both sides of the story, and I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read his version of events. I've read the response from the RFL. I've seen a follow-up story in the local paper here about Matt again outlining what his concerns are. I don't know what more you can say. If you've read the story, you're going to have to make up your own mind, because unless Matt's in here and there's somebody from the RFL giving their side of the story, I don't know.
Well, it's a horrible situation, and
the story hasn't been followed up on this week in the papers, has it? So.
No, it's a bit of a throw a brick in the water and stand back and watch the ripples.
I mean, I understand that there is an element of insensitivity to send Batley back to the same hotel. I don't know whose responsibility it is to make those logistical arrangements. The RFL would tell you it's the club's responsibility, but
yeah,
I don't know,
I think that with again, we use it common decency. I think that should have been looked at and said, "Look, guys, what do you think?"
Yeah. But I don't know if that's the responsibility of somebody at the club who makes those arrangements with a range of choices, or somebody at the RFL who takes that on board and arranges it for them. But all we can say is Kevin Nicholas stepped in and saved the day by paying.
He
for
shouldn't have to. That's the point.
But I think the fact is that shows what we're about as a sport.
Yeah.
More than some of the other things we've spoken about tonight. That attitude of Kevin Nicholas's to sort out a problem before it becomes one. is
But
what we're about as a sport.
maybe the fact that the governing body didn't see what the potential problem was is a common theme again.
I don't
mentioned
know.
that on something else.
We don't know
they should have sorted out.
Who was at fault there, but clearly it wasn't right.
Yeah. Right, okay, it's prediction time.
It is.
Are we alright? We're ready to do predictions?
So, yeah.
Danika, Warrington plays St Helens on Thursday night. What do you think's going to happen?
I like to think that Warrington are going to put up a bit of a fight now, having seen them, and then they're going to review, aren't they, very well. But Saints, are they just looking the out-and-out team? I think they're building at least for the Roosters, so I'm going to go Saints. I'm going to go by 8.
I think that's the key thing, that Saints have got an incentive over and above the games that they're playing at the moment. They want to be competitive against the best team in the world, and to do that, they've got to be at their peak this time of year. I can't see anybody living with them at the moment with the way they dismantled Salford. So I've got to go with Saints as well. But I think you're right. It'd be close and probably 6.
I've gone 6. Saints by 6. I think Warrington, obviously, they were very good last week. And they probably, they got the moral victory, didn't they? As joked about earlier. But they probably came out with more credit in only just losing with 12 men than Wigan did with winning with 13. So, Saints, having put Salford away last week, will do the same to Warrington. I've gone by 6, but probably could be more.
Yeah, I was impressed with Warrington, but it masked over the fact that they lost. I know they had a man sent off, and they did start really well, and I think they'll have a good crack at Saints. But Saints, how they played last week, they're on a different level. You'd have to say they're going to win. I'm going to go by 10. I think it'd be double figures. And I expect Thompson to have a massive game. Really big game. Right, on Friday, Castleford take on Wigan. Where are you going?
I'm going to go Wigan. It's going to be close, though, I think. By 4. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Last minute. Down the wing. Try.
Liam Marshall.
Phil?
There's no love lost between these two teams. I know that's lessened a bit, that it isn't now Darryl Powell and Sean Wayne. Interesting, somebody was saying on social media today, do you think Sean Wayne will appoint Darryl Powell as his assistant? I don't think so. I thought Cass did what they had to do on Sunday, but as we said in review of that game, I wasn't 100% convinced that they need some more.
Who were the two that went off yesterday? Because they didn't come back on.
Milner came back, didn't he?
Oh, he did come back on, yeah.
Griffin didn't. So
can we just did anybody watch Greg Eden's injury and not think straight away that he's just snapped his ACL and got up and ran? I couldn't watch it. It kept on showing it.
I've seen the still of it. It don't look great, does it? But yeah.
I think as well, Eden's try, his first try, the sort of mistake from Miludi that he picked up and shot, which almost changed the course of the game for 10 or 15 minutes because Toronto didn't recover from that. I'm not sure that Wigan will make those kind of mistakes.
No.
So I think they'll be really tough to break down. Wigan ain't going to score a lot of points, I don't think, but I'll go Wigan by 6 with Bevan French getting the winning score.
I've got Wigan as well. Just upset people from Cass mainly. No, in fairness, that's been Danika's job today.
Well, actually, I should maybe go against you because every time we've done this before with the women's game, you've always been.
There's always whenever we all go for the same team, that team always does what we don't want it to do, and we've all gone for St Helens, and now I'm feeling I've got to go Wigan.
Even more weirdly, Danika, I've gone by 4 as well. So, and I put that in before you said any words. It's not this copy.
I just think Wigan will be a bit too strong for. Cass will show me this week if my bottom 4 prediction was right or wrong. Because if they beat Wigan, then I don't think they will be in the bottom 4. I think this is a big test. They've still got players missing, and I think Wigan will take advantage of that. It's normally quite tight when these two play. I'm going to go Wigan by 1.
Ooh.
Yeah. Salford take on Toronto on Saturday.
Hull Derby.
Oh yeah, Hull Derby. Yeah, sorry. All right.
The only derby in rugby.
The only derby.
The only derby.
Hull take on Hull KR.
Hull by. I'm going to go by 10.
I think the issue Hull KR will find is the same one that Leeds did this week, that they're just across the pack not big enough.
Yeah.
And if Hull can play to that level again, and I think they will in front of their home fans, Adam Pearson's made a big deal about they've got to deliver in front of the home fans because they haven't done for a couple of years. I can't see Hull losing this, which is no detriment to Hull KR. I just don't think they've got the bodies big enough to stop them. So I'm going to go Hull by 18.
Wow.
I've got double figures as well for the black and whites. I don't like this reporting of Hull KR that everything they're doing is because of what's happened in pre-season to one of their brethren. They've still got lots of very good players, and they're obviously very good and much better than Wakefield were on Friday night. But Hull FC, from what we saw yesterday, Hull by 12, FC that is.
I did say Hull KR win last week on the show. They did win last week. I think Tony Smith, this is an awful one because he needs to pick his battles, but this is a battle that he's got to turn up for, but they could turn up at a cost. I think Hull, and I'm not overreacting how they played yesterday because I think on a dry day they'd have scored more points at Leeds. And on a better pitch, they'd have scored more points. Hull KR will try and run round them because they can't run through them, and I think that'll lead to mistakes. I'm going to go Hull by 30.
30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we saw from Hull. You don't want to use the term bully, but they're bullies.
Yeah.
In terms of they're bigger than you, and there's no you can do to stop them. Yeah, and they ain't going to stop. And Lee Radford will be cracking the whip. And you've got to look who didn't play yesterday.
Oh yeah.
They're all playing for places. I just think it could get a bit too much for Hull KR. I just think Hull KR have got to be careful.
The following week, Hull KR have got Leeds, which is a game that, you know...
You know what? Tony Smith won't want to say I'm chucking in the derby,
but you look at your first
thinking,
three fixtures, you go,
I want to win at Leeds. Yeah,
those are the two.
And they're packing big enough. I think he's got to fight. He's got to fight his battles. Yeah. Tony Smith's job is to keep Hull KR in the division.
He played George Lawler at prop.
Yeah,
you're not going to do that against Hull.
Well, he ain't got anyone else.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, the whole.
Yeah. Right, Salford, Toronto.
Salford. I think it'd be close. I think Toronto are limited, aren't they, in what they can do? But I think they've had a run out now. They've come and played with the big boys, haven't they? They've got a lot to review. They've got a lot to work on. It's Mark. He's going to have a rethink, isn't he? I'm going to go to Salford though, but I'm going to go a bit 6.
The Manchester derby.
Who are you, Sid?
I think that you're right that Toronto. The big positive for Toronto, I thought, was the second half. Because although they knew they'd lost the game, they didn't throw it in. It was 6-all. And I think that when you haven't played at Super League level, and a lot of your players haven't for a while, then it will take them time to adjust. But I think the problem for Toronto is the manner in which Salford got beaten at St Helens. I think Ian Watson was livid with the fact that they didn't really turn up. Now, it might be because St Helens was so good, but the volume of the defeat will really refocus the coaching staff at Salford, and I think they won't make this mistake at home against Toronto. So I think Salford by 14.
Joe McCarthy's obviously not listening to the programme because he's not sending any messages about anything yet. But I'm going to get abused from her when she listens to the podcast.
She's still grieving the loss of Wayne Bennett.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's a big fan of Brian McDermott.
Likes men with grey hair.
Something like that.
I'm alright.
The impressive Brian McDermott. I'm going to go for Toronto by 4.
Is O'Brien playing this week? How long's he out for?
I don't know.
If O'Brien plays, I think Toronto will win. I don't know if he's playing. Yeah,
we've got to make the call now, though.
Yeah, I do. I know. Salford should win. This is the type of game. Even last year, they had a few blips at home against teams they should beat. They got steamrolled. You've still got to score points. And I thought, for all their errors last week, Toronto can score. Especially, like you said, you put O'Brien back in there. If Wilkie don't play, though...
Sunnyville's got some mileage.
I feel like you're getting a bit of splinters there.
Yeah, I want I think Toronto will win, but I'm going to play with my head here and I'm going to say Salford by 10. Salford at home pretty good by and large. Odd blip, but we'll find out this week if Salford are going to be okay. Right, Huddersfield Leeds. We need to be quick with these.
Leeds, it's fine. We're going to come back. Have us back. We're going to have a big pack. Huddersfield went away. We didn't know. We don't know how Catalan were playing with their heads, so Huddersfield might have got one up there. But I can't. It's some boys, aren't they?
Giants by 12. Is that what she said? Go on, how many by?
8.
Caesar against Gale. Really looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah.
I think, if Sir Manafanai plays, that changes the dynamic.
We might lose Connie though if he's had a big head injury, but I'm still sticking to the boys.
Was it last year Leeds went to John Smith's won by 40 odd? That was the
44
game that
nil,
turned their season around.
Yeah.
I think that'll hurt Huddersfield and they'll be looking to for some revenge. But I'm going Leeds by 6.
League Express or League Weekly next week, whichever one, because I'm buying both anyway. Tax me up tomorrow. Their headline on the front will be Caesar's the Geezer, Huddersfield by 8. Get those t-shirts back.
Do we think Hurrell will play?
No.
No?
Because I think his concussion was
it's
like at 5
week,
o'clock on the Sunday, so
7
kicking off
days
at
he won't
3.
play. I'm going Huddersfield by 16. I just think they're in a bubble, Huddersfield. I liked bits of what I saw from Leeds, and somehow I think I would add a bit of beef to their pack.
If
Few
Leeds
problems.
win, will you wear a Leeds shirt for the show next week?
Yeah,
Just one game.
yeah, quite happily. Yeah,
He's worn a Leeds shirt and
I've
played in
played in it. I'm not
No,
bothered.
yeah, but and if they lose, I'll wear your little shirt.
No, I'm alright. If Leeds win, fair play, no
I just got
problem.
to say, I love Leeds.
No worries. I'll say anything. Right, last one. Wakefield Catalans. Boo! That's for Catalans, by the way.
I mean, I don't want to. I can't. My head's going Catalan, but I can't because morally. But then Wakefield.
What's wrong with us? I don't know anything. I know we've inflicted Jay McDonald on the world, but they're not playing with the rest of us.
You haven't got any players. That's the problem.
That's it.
I might get a game this week. All that walking up and downstairs I'm doing.
But then a Catalan head to mess. Are they going to just throw it away?
Well, if you wait any longer, we'll find out. They'll kick off in 3 days.
Says the boy that was sat on the fence about a minute ago. Catalan by 2.
Catalans by 2.
I don't want to say that, but I did.
Alright.
We might have to introduce suspensions or fines for anyone that tips Catalan on this show. What do you think?
I think James Maloney will fire this week. I think the Dragons are determined. No, I'm not asking
Not
which
his fault,
category.
is it?
The Dragons are determined to get rid of this tag of they don't travel.
Yeah, but they've got a tag that's supposed to be good at home. It didn't work last week, did it?
No, my only worry for Wakefield is that they've just run out of quality bodies, unfortunately. So yes, against my better judgment, as I would like them to be instantly relegated purely for the stance that they've taken on the gate.
Just say it.
Catalan by 10.
I'm going to take Wakefield every week because I have to do. But I think we'll win because I'm blindly loyal to my team. But I hope. I don't know who's playing the music on Sunday. We do have a very old playlist. We need to get some new music in there. But I hope when the teams come out and when Catalans are warming up, they just play over and over and over again. Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax, Wakefield by 12. Mike Reed's band.
Yeah. I tipped Wakey to lose last week, and I think it could get messy, but I refuse to tip Catalan, so I'm going Wakefield by 8.
Proud of your stance.
Yeah. Is that it? Are we done?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Danika, for coming in and helping us out. We appreciate it as ever. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to Rich. Thanks to everyone that downloads the old podcast. Keep downloading it. Keep sending me all your abuse on Twitter. I do like it, really. And Phil, get some better biscuits. In fact, hold on.
No. It's Brian that gets the biscuits.
I'm going to I'll leave £1 on the plate, and then he can get some decent biscuits in.
Chocolate digestive.
£2. I'm in. That's it. We're off. I'll see you next week.